Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the
August 31st.
August 31st meeting of the Pasadena City Council and successor agency to the Pasadena Development Commission. We'll start with the calling of the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Cole?
Present.
Councilmember Hampton?
Blessed and honored to be here.
Councilmember Jones?
Here.
Councilmember Lyon?
Here.
Councilmember Madison?
Here.
Councilmember Masuda?
Here.
Vice Mayor Rivas?
Here.
Mayor Gordo?
Here.
There's a quorum of the council present.
Mr. Cole, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please rise. Hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And we will start with the report on closed session. Madam City Attorney?
Yes. The city council met in closed session, and there is reportable action with respect to closed session item E, which was discussed, and the city council authorized the initiation of civil litigation, and the defendants and other particulars will, once formally commenced, be disclosed to any person upon inquiry in accordance with the Government Code Section 54957.1, unless to do so would jeopardize the city's ability to effectuate service of process. The authorization was unanimous among those present: Mayor Gordo, Vice Mayor Rivas, Council Members Cole, Jones, Lyon, Madison, and Masuda, with Council Member Hampton absent. The council also discussed items A and C, and did not discuss items B, D, or F. Thank you.
Okay. Why don't we go to, we have a weighty agenda. We'll start with one ceremonial matter and then turn to public comment for matters not on the agenda. So you can start preparing yourself. We will allot a minute and a half for public comment for matters not on the agenda. Okay, in the meantime, we have presenters for ceremonials for all the activity that's going to be happening in October in Pasadena. Come on up. Ms. Barrios.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Vanya de la Cuba and I, Lisa Barrios Izaguirre, join you as co-chairs of the 2026 Pasadena Latino Heritage Parade and Festival. On behalf of the committee, we're excited to invite you and the entire Pasadena community to the 28th Annual Latino Heritage Parade and Festival that will be held on Saturday, October 10th. This year's theme, Unidos por el latido de nuestra comunidad, United by the heartbeat of our community, celebrates the diversity, strength, and ánimo that make our community so special. Our heartbeat is the rhythm of our cultures, traditions, and shared dreams. Though our backgrounds may be different, from Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Peru, migrante, Afro-Latina, first generation, fourth generation, de aquí y de allá, we are united by a deep sense of community, heritage, and belonging. This year's Grand Marshals will be announced at our kickoff celebration at the Armory Center for the Arts on September 18th. We encourage the public to visit our website, PasadenaLatinoHeritageParade.org, to be kept informed of ways to get involved and review the list of free and fun events. Thank you again for your support, your continuous support, and we look forward to your participation. At this time, I'll hand it over to Pamela Cantero More, PRCS Superintendent, who will introduce the 2026 Latino Heritage Celebration calendar.
Pam?
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Pamela Cantero here, PRCS Superintendent, and I am so excited to bring to you the 2026 Latino Heritage Celebration lineup. We're going to begin with Fiestas Patrias over at Villa Park Community Center from 5 to 9. Dance with Me. We're going to be having a series of dance classes, so salsa, bachata, on Fridays at Villa Park, September 25th, October 2nd, October 9th. Sazon Latino. If you ever wonder how to make pupusas, we're going to be having a class where they're going to be teaching how do you make the traditional pupusas, as well as on October 3rd, we're going to be making pan de muerto. The Latino Heritage Parade and Festival will be on October 10th. We're going to have a movie night on Thursday, October 15th, and we will culminate our celebrations with Dia de los Muertos Friday, October 30th. Thank you, and hope to see you guys there.
Thank you.
So Mayor, council members, thank you again for supporting this wonderful event that we have. It's meaningful to our community, and it's a sign of the resiliency and strength of our community. And we look forward to seeing you all participate and walking in the parade and joining us in the fun. So thank you.
Great. We're looking forward to it. And invite everyone in the community to come out and join us. Thank you. Okay. Next, we'll turn to public comment for matters not on the agenda. And we'll do a minute and a half. If you hear your name called, please form a line in the center aisle. Thank you.
Liz McDuffie, followed by Katie Murphy, then Salpi Manjikian, then Peter Smith, then Jessica Clare. No, you are, Miss
You're first.
McDuffie. I will
Yes.
ring a bell when you have 30 seconds left.
If the others will step forward.
A minute and a half, you mentioned, right?
Yes.
So I'll get right to it as quickly as possible. Good evening, Mayor Gordo, Vice Mayor Rivas, and City Council members. My name's Liz McDuffie, and I'm here to request the opportunity to submit documentation to the City Council explaining why I was never given the opportunity to accept and sign the city's $5,000 settlement agreement that resulted in a $175,000 plus 10% interest judgment on my property. So I'm asking you to please, I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't made aware. However, I want to tell you just this, since I don't have much time here. When the city sought this judgment against me on February the 2nd, they made a motion to the court for the judgment, and I wasn't represented there. No one appeared, and my attorney didn't appear on my behalf. And what's interesting about the city requesting that judgment is that they didn't put an amount on it. The judge approved the motion to do the judgment, but there was no amount. And then subsequently, a month later, the city filed the $175,000 judgment. So it went from, how did it go from 5 to 175,000? And I'm thinking that the judge probably
Ma'am, your
thought
time
that-
has expired.
Thank you, ma'am.
We'll move on to Katie Murphy, followed by Salpi Manjikian, then Peter Smith, then Jessica Clare.
Welcome.
Mayor, are you speaking to me? I
Ma'am,
have a hearing aid.
no, I'm sorry. We're going to the next speaker. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Katie Murphy. I'm 11 years old, and I've been riding at Roseville Riders for about 2 years, and it has been awesome. Roseville Riders has changed my life in multiple ways, teaching me things about horses and myself. From grooming to tacking up to riding, it has all been a learning experience every time I ride. Riding horses has given me the strength and confidence. Riding horses has been such a fun experience and still is. Horses mean so much to me, teaching me a lot of things and teaching me the proper way to take care of animals. Thank you.
Thank you. Salpi Manjikian, followed by Peter Smith, then Jessica Clare, then Carmelita Diamante, then Lisa Sherman.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hi, good evening, thank you. I am here to tag along to what this lovely young lady said. I too am a writer at the Rose Bowl Writer facility in the Pasadena Equestrian Center. COVID hit, my dad died, my mom had dementia, my world fell apart, I had to move. I mean, we all lived there. We lived through it. And for me to be able to go back to writing after 40 years, to be able to be outside amongst the animals, don't have to wear a mask, and go back to the love of my life, which is horses and riding, this time as an adult, unlike the young lady that just spoke, to be able to be in a peaceful place where the animals love you, they hug you, especially at a time when my world was falling apart. It is enchanting, and I'd like to, that means 30 seconds. So I had my belated 60th birthday there, and my invitation said, "Welcome to the magical land where horses fly through the air, rabbits and squirrels chase each other, and we under the twinkling lights of the beautiful oak trees at this beautiful facility, I was able to share a much needed respite party with everyone. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter Smith, followed by Jessica Clare, then Carmelita Diamante, Lisa Sherman, Viviana Delgado, Jesse Dahlstrom, and then Gavin Dorman.
Welcome.
Go ahead.
Mayor, council members, I'm Peter Smith. I'm a board member at Summit Grove. I have hard copies of the detailed letter the HOA board emailed you last week. Can I give them to the Sergeant at Arms to distribute when I'm done?
Yes.
I'm not here to disparage any entity. I'm here to tell you what exists and what we need. Our Pasadena affordable homeownership project is in danger of complete failure. We've exhausted our options to fund repairs and are left with a tremendous funding shortfall. The repair contractor is chasing major water intrusion damage as they find it, and the scope of work has exploded. Every side of the building will need to be completely opened. The west wall is already totally open. In our last Zoom meeting, they said, "We've luckily caught the damage before your building would need to be red tagged." Pasadena funded our project through the IHO in lieu fees. Pasadena regulates the application for homeownership. Pasadena holds silent loans on our units to bring them to the affordable sales price. What are our options? Should we assess our affordable homeownership community for hundreds of thousands of dollars to fund our repair shortfall? Is Pasadena prepared to buy back all 21 units? Our situation threatens the very viability of Pasadena's affordable housing mission. I would strongly question the ethics of allocating IHO in lieu fees to new projects before sending them to us for our very survival as an affordable homeownership building. El Nino storms are coming. Please quickly schedule a meeting as the HOA requested, then vote to approve the funds we need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica Clare.
Yes, hello. My name is Jessica Clare, and I purchased my condo at Summit Grove 8 years ago. Due to a known mold issue in the unit below ours, we paid $300 for a preliminary mold test in July of 2025. This ERMI test revealed the presence of multiple dangerous mold species. We then paid $1,400 for an environmental specialist to come inspect our unit. He peeled back the baseboard in our bedroom and discovered visible black mold. We immediately vacated to a rental and ended up staying there for 3 months while our unit was partially remediated. More mold was found in multiple walls and in the subfloor of our condo, all from water intrusion into our unit. We spent over $10,000 on rent and other expenses during remediation while still covering our mortgage and HOA dues. Given the current state of our building's reconstruction funds, we suspect we will never be reimbursed for any of that. Because we can't afford to continue to pay both rent and mortgage, we have been living with open walls throughout our unit since last November, which makes our unit impossible to sell even if we wanted to. I have a chronically ill daughter whose doctor recently ordered testing that revealed mycotoxins in her body that are linked to the species of mold that are growing in the unit. One of the stated goals of this affordable homeowner project is that the housing be safe and healthy, which it is not. We need your help. Please set up a meeting with my HOA board to figure out how to fund
Ma'am,
the
your
full
time has
scope
expired.
of the remediation needed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Carmelita Diamante, followed by Lisa Sherman, then Viviana Delgado, Jesse Dahlstrom, then Gavin Dorman. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Our unit is the one of the homes significantly affected by water intrusion and mold, specifically in all 3 bedrooms. We had to throw away my daughter's bed and a sleeping couch because they had been in contact with the mold. We reported a problem to the builder and HHP and repairs were made. However, subsequent rains, the mold returned. Around the same time, our children began experiencing allergies and respiratory problems. We made several urgent care and doctor visits, and one of my sons prescribed an inhaler for asthma symptoms. What was most frustrating was feeling that our concerns were being minimized. After we sent photographs, we were told that it could have been from other rooms and the moisture was observed during the inspection. Then Mr. Lara of RAM emailed the group stating, quote, RAM will no longer be participating at any capacity with your project, unquote, and asked to be removed from further communication. We are grateful for the affordable housing opportunity, but affordable should never mean below quality. We are paying for our home, and we deserve a home that is safe, dry, and livable. So that is our ask. We respectfully request that the mayor, the city council members meet our HOA board members to discuss the funding shortfall, clarify the path forward, and help ensure these critical issues are properly addressed. Pasadena is our home. Our children attend Pasadena School. Our
Ma'am, your time has
family is
expired.
part of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Lisa Sherman.
Good evening. In 2018, my husband and I purchased a home through Pasadena's affordable housing program. My husband, along with 2 other people in our building, is a city employee. We were incredibly grateful for a program that gave middle-class families like ours a chance to own a home in Pasadena. We trusted the city. We believed we were making a responsible investment in our family's future. We didn't know that investment would later become a source of incredible stress, potential health risks, and potentially unimaginable financial obligations. How can Pasadena create a program to help middle-class families get started, only to leave those families potentially in a worse position than when they began? Did we get duped? Did we get duped? Are we now sitting on a potential money pit that Pasadena's affordable housing program helped us purchase? If there are others here who are impacted by major construction problems, please stand up. These are not abstract financial problems. These are our homes, our families, our kids, Mr. Gordo. Our kids. Please meet with us and help us find a solution.
Thank you.
Thank you. Viviana Delgado, followed by Jesse Dahlstrom, Gavin Dorman, Eliza Jacobs, Abigail Johnson, Nora Ailman.
Good evening. My name is Viviana Delgado, and I'm an affordable housing homeowner at Decker Court. I purchased my home through a program administered by Heritage Housing Partners, HHP. In January, I notified HHP that I needed to sell my home. More than 7 months later, my home is still not been sold, and I have been left carrying the financial burden. I also submitted a hardship request asking to temporarily rent my unit while it remains for sale. After months of going back and forth, the city reviewed my documents and determined that my loans were never transferred to the city, so the decision was sent back to HHP. When I spoke directly with HHP's director, Charles, about my hardship, he told me, "Why would I help you when you're suing me?" He was referring to pending litigations involving my HOA. Since then, my emails regarding my hardship have gone unanswered. This has left me paying a mortgage, HOA dues, taxes, and insurance on a vacant home that I have been trying to sell since January. More broadly, there is an inherent conflict of interest when the same organization that builds and sells these affordable homes also serves as the broker controlling the resale, leaving homeowners dependent on the builder even when there's interest conflicts. I'm asking the city to respond to my hardship request, take responsibility for overseeing the resale of my affordable unit rather than leaving that authority with HHP, and examine Pasadena's regulations surrounding how affordable units like mine are resold so the other homeowners are not placed in the same situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Jesse Dahlstrom, then Gavin Dorman.
Hello, my name is Jessie Dahlstrom, and I am an HOA board member and resident at Decker. I am a third-generation Pasadenian, and I feel so lucky to have been able to buy a home in the place I grew up in, around all my family and friends. Without affordable housing opportunities, that would have been quite the feat for my family. As you have heard, our building is also in the beginning stages of inspection to find out what the actual extent of damage is. I was planning to echo the requests of my neighbors in my complex, but now it seems I am a part of a larger chorus of people dealing with huge problems at multiple affordable homeownership projects. As we have begun this process at Decker and Gill, we have been bracing ourselves for the possibility of much larger problems than we have already seen. Our building is only 6 years old, and we have already faced damage that should have been caught in the inspection process. I have admired Pasadena's push to support affordable housing efforts, but if this is the way it will be done, there needs to be some reevaluation. My complex is filled with involved, helpful community members. We have all invested our life savings into our homes, and we believe it is reasonable to expect that the city-supported housing be held to the same standards as any other housing in this community. I am asking that you move quickly to allocate additional funding to bring these housing projects to safe and livable standards and to ensure that all affordable housing projects in progress are inspected as thoroughly and carefully as any other home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gavin Dorman, followed by Eliza Jacobs, Abigail Johnson, Nora Ailman, Heather Godoma, and Prince.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening. I'm Gavin Dorman, a homeowner and board member at Lincoln at Orange Grove. 2 years ago, our community submitted a safety and security grant request to the city. Unfortunately, it went nowhere at the time. Only in the last few weeks has that communication door opened again, thanks in part to Councilmember Jones. And for this, we're very appreciative. I hope the city will take this request seriously, as we're tasked with protecting not only 48 predominantly affordable housing units, but also 8 City of Pasadena businesses. However, that's not the only reason I'm here tonight. Recently, after failing a fire compliance inspection, our HOA conducted a complete electrical assessment of our building and discovered several backup power systems that are not properly connected. We also discovered that our homeowners have been paying the electrical bills for our 8 retail spaces for nearly 3 years. These electrical configurations were part of a building that went through the city's review and approval process. Now the HOA is being asked to spend tens of thousands of dollars correcting these issues, or in the case of our emergency backup systems, face city penalties. The same basic issues exist with our emergency radio communication system. Equipment previously signed off on is now being deemed insufficient by the city, again leaving affordable housing homeowners to pay thousands of dollars to correct the problems or face city fire compliance fines. We will be submitting formal proposals to the city as we look to correct these issues, and we hope the city will strongly consider financially assisting us in these matters rather than imposing fines against us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Eliza Jacobs.
Welcome.
Hello, my name is Eliza Jacobs. I'm here again to speak about Pasadena Equestrian Center and how it has positively impacted my life. I grew up in Pasadena. I went to school here, K through 12. I was diagnosed with ADHD at 5. I'm a very hyperactive person. My parents knew I would never work in an office. Horses have changed the trajectory of my life. I started in child development at PCC, and I'm now doing equine science at Pierce because children and horses are what I would like to do, and I would like to bring children and people to horses. The facility that's let me do this, RBR and Myrtle Hill Farm, that operate out of Pasadena Equestrian Center, they're only accessible to me because of how they have made themselves accessible, and they would like to help communities and group homes and all the things in the community and give back. Horses are very therapeutic animals. They're very emotionally intelligent. They help children find confidence and strength in themselves. I help special needs children just sit on a horse and it just lights them up, and their parents are so happy that they get to do these things. They've shaped my resilience, my patience, and my communication and desire to teach. This past year I was elected to the board to try and preserve Rose Bowl riders for the future, and so these children may enjoy it. I implore you, if you can, to help us solidify our position in Pasadena. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Abigail Johnson.
Ms. Johnson, welcome.
Hello, my name is Abigail Johnson. I am 13 years old and I've been riding at Rose Bowl Riders for 7 to 8 years. Riding has made a big impact on my life by giving me confidence, and it has also gotten me stronger. It has also taught me a lot about horses and myself. I have been taught from grooming to tucking up my horse, and right now I have been learning about the jumping and arena rules and the rules of the arena. Thank you.
Thank you. Nora Ailman.
My name is Nora Alleman and I am 12 years old. I moved here when I was 4 and started riding when I was 9 years old. And I cannot explain how much riding and spending time with horses have changed my life. I volunteer at the Rose Bowl Riders through the Myrtle Hill Lesson Program, aiding Girl Scouts and their programs, giving a bridge to those in our community that don't always get to spend time with these beautiful animals. Through the Myrtle Hill Farm Lesson Program at Roseville Riders, I've learned jumping, communication, organization, and leadership. Through all of this, I found myself at Roseville Riders Lesson Program with Myrtle Hill Farm have changed my life so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Heather Kadama, followed by Prince, followed by Kelly Brinkman, then Yadi, then Adoje Njianja.
Good evening. My name is Heather Kodama. Hello, Mr. Mayor. Hello, City Council members. Nice to see you again. I'm here for someone that's volunteered at Rose Bowl Riders for the last 10 years, over 15,000 hours of my own time. I am now currently serving as the vice president. This is including times when we have Hathaway Sycamores or Hill House come to the properties and ride horses with a volunteer of our committed staff that wants to continue to connect people in Pasadena with horses. This is including the programs that we want to continue with the Title I schools through Pasadena, of busing kids in so they can have an experience of the day with horses. I graduated from John Muir High School. My son just graduated from Pasadena High School, and in fact, in 3 weeks, he's going to be attending UC Riverside in biomedical engineering. My son volunteered countless hours on this property so that kids, too, can experience the same things that he experienced when he was on this property. It is truly a magical place. I would implore any of the city council members, especially Mr. Madison, Mr. Jones, Mr. Hampton, Ms. Rivas, Mr. Mowski, Mr. Gordo, Mr. Masuda, Mr. Clow, Mr. Lyons, to please come down to our property at any time and spend time with horses. We would love to have you, especially because we're going into our 80th year anniversary. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Prince, followed by Kelly Brinkman, then Yadi, then Adokie Njianja. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, motherfuckers. Welcome back. Yes, and fuck you too, motherfuckers. So I'm here to speak in regards to Snyder versus Phelps 562 US 443, dated 2011. And the reason, because, as you heard, white motherfucker too like me understands.
Sir, there are minors in the room who are now having to exit.
Pardon me?
Please watch your language. There are minors in the room who are now being escorted out.
Excuse me, but I
by
got
their
the floor,
parents.
sir.
Thank you.
Excuse me.
Just a request. Thank you. Please proceed.
Excuse me.
Please proceed. Thank you.
Excuse me.
You're excused. Thank you.
This is public protest. And all these motherfuckers that spoke before me were telling you and telling the city and telling you assholes they want something done about their housing. I'm here in protest of that. I'm not gonna be polite. I'm not gonna be considerate. I'm gonna weigh my weight on the Constitution to protect white motherfuckers too in Pasadena who deserve housing. I should be in housing, not this temporary bullshit like LA County, LA City. On behalf, by the way, of LASA and all your fucking programs, David O. Carter, on behalf of him, 42 U.S.C. 1983, politely, fuck you too. Because again, these public documents in 1 fucking minute and 5 seconds, I cannot provide all the information that I wish to speak because of you, Gordo, you just interrupted me.
Your time has expired.
Thank you, sir.
Here's my public documents.
Please hand them to the Sergeant at Arms. Thank you. Sergeant at Arms will take them from you.
That's Sergeant.
Thank you.
Kelly Brinkman, followed by Yadi.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. First, I'd like to thank you. As I understand it, Assembly Bill 2329 is now on Governor Newsom's desk. My name is Kelly Brinkman. I'm a Pasadena resident and a Caltrans tenant. I have one very simple question tonight. When did Caltrans become exempt from the rules that the rest of us are required to follow? Caltrans owns rental programs in Pasadena. They collect rent from Pasadena residents. They have tenants living in these properties every single day. When it comes to Pasadena housing, health, safety, and building codes, we are told essentially those rules do not apply to us. Well, I'd like to know exactly where that exemption is written, because if I own rental property in Pasadena, I don't get to pick and choose which health and safety requirements I want to follow. And neither should Caltrans. State ownership is not a magic shield against accountability. These are people's homes, not a highway infrastructure. For decades, Caltrans has allowed properties in Pasadena to deteriorate while continuing to collect rent. And now, when tenants ask for basic accountability, we are told that the city has limited authority because Caltrans is a state agency. That may be convenient for Caltrans, but it shouldn't be acceptable to Pasadena. So I'm asking the council to demand a written answer from Caltrans.
Ma'am, your time has expired.
Okay, thank you.
Yadi, followed by Adokie Njianja, who's online.
Yadi, welcome.
I'm just going to express some appreciation. First of all, thank you, Vice Mayor Rivas, for your transparency and making your stance on surveillance known to the public. And also, thank you to Councilmember Hampton for calling on a moratorium on the use of stationary ALPR immediately. I also ask that you place a moratorium on the installation of additional cameras like those that are slated to be installed in District 4, and from purchasing any additional surveillance cameras, ALPR, flock or not. And I also want to thank the police department for releasing flock records today to me. Of course, it was after I had hired an attorney to send a demand letter that I would be filing a lawsuit if public records weren't released by today. It really highlights the commitment of the city to transparency and how important it is to y'all, of that thing you could talk about, community policing and community trust. If you're currently in the flock bad, ALPR good camp, I ask you to consider and be transparent with the public about what your vision for Pasadena looks like. For one, flock is really a data broker. And then, do you agree with the chief of installing cameras on our 2,700 intersections at 4 cameras per intersection at $3,000 a piece? That's $32 million a year. I don't know if that's the best use of our taxpayer funds. And just to reiterate, flock has brought the issue to light. But this is really a discussion about surveillance in general and how it infringes on our civil liberties.
Your time has expired.
Please, let's have a broader conversation about privacy. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then, let's bring in Adokie Njianja. Adokie Njianja.
Hi, I'm Adokie Njianja, and I'm a homeowner at Summit Grove. Mayor Gordo, you came to our community meeting after the shooting on our corner in 2019. A bullet from that shooting went through my window. My unit has been severely impacted by these water intrusion problems. Back in 2022, our interior walls were bubbling and showing evidence of mold. HHP and RAM did a round of remediation then, and while they did pull out the moldy and water damaged materials in the walls, they did nothing significant to stop the water intrusion. Sure enough, the following year, more water damage returned. Myself and other homeowners, along with the HOA board, all reached out to RAM and HHP again, and after some back and forth, Richard from RAM Construction emailed that RAM would no longer be participating in any assistance for Summit Grove, and we should remove RAM from all communications. That was February of 2024. After several weeks of no further movement, we talked with HOA board members and our management company, who advised our only option to get everything fixed was to enter an SB 800 process, a construction defect lawsuit. There's water damage in my walls going back from the winter of 2023-2024. We can't fix it until the exterior is fixed. And as our contractor opens up the walls and finds more and more damage, the scope of work exceeds what we have the funds to cover. I worry for the health of my family and all the other family members living there at Summer Grove. Please meet with the HOA board to help us get the funds we need to live in a safe environment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Asher Smith, are you speaking on matters not on the agenda? No, it's, you put in unrelated and you put in number 12, so I'm asking, are you speaking on matters not on the agenda? It is on the agenda, yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That completes public comment on matters not on the agenda.
Okay, see Mr. Hampton, Mr. Jones, and Ms. Rivas are in the queue. Again, How much time will you need? One, and two, I remember that that was public comment for matters not on the agenda, so we're limited in how much we can engage.
I just need 27 minutes.
Seconds, you mean? Mr. Hampton, 27 seconds.
No, I'll be very brief. As my typical council meetings, I always mention things that were brought up in public comment. So for the RBR, let me take that back. For the Pasadena Equestrian Center, RFP went out twice, and I just want to understand when that RFP will be coming back to us for approval or for us to have a discussion on that.
It'll be coming back to the council, I believe, in closed session next Tuesday.
Okay, so looking for that. I'm just checking that off. And then for the housing concerns that have been brought up today related to HHP, a city partnered dealer. We partner with them for their developments, and so I typically we've seen emails that have come back and forth and said this is not the city, but we do have silent seconds on all of these properties, and our policies allow HHP to be the first right when purchasing back the house or back the home, and I think then it falls to the city. I think that this is a further discussion for the Housing and Homelessness Committee, and I would hope that that would happen there expeditiously, and if it can't happen there, it should come back to our full city council. It's not right, the conditions that these residents are living in, and I've been a part of a lot of these emails for the past 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Hampton.
Then
I'm
I just had two more. Caltrans homes, we should have written correspondence from Caltrans, and I know that Councilmember Madison has been all over this, him and his team, but ultimately, these are all of our residents. And then Ms. McDuffie, I understand we got a memo. I hadn't had the opportunity to see that memo yet, but I know it's confidential, so I can't really talk about it. But if there's anything that we could do for a senior who lives in our community, I could only imagine the amount of stress that that this is causing her, this bill from the city, we should really find it in the best interest of our community to keep our community members here. So those are my comments on that. Thank you.
Mr. Jones, followed by Ms. Rivas.
Thanks, Mayor. And I just wanted to bring up the issue that we've heard today and with the affordable housing, the quality of the affordable housing. As you know, in the district I represent, there's an affordable housing unit that they're suffering through quality issues as well. So it seems like the stories that were shared today, you could pick up and place into different affordable housing units throughout the city. And we have to keep in mind that just because it's affordable doesn't mean it needs to be low quality. And I know that, and I know that, Mayor, on our work plan on the HHP, we do have a discussion item about quality, affordable housing. So I know that that's coming to our committee, so I appreciate your leadership on that. Thank you.
Ms. Rivas?
Thank you, Mayor.
followed by Ms.
Again,
Madison.
super briefly, I want to thank the residents of Summit Grove for coming out tonight. We had met several times. You invited me into your homes to show me the issues. It's, as many of you stated, absolutely unacceptable. And so I'm so sorry you're continue to deal with that. I do believe, as both my colleagues mentioned, this is a discussion we should have at HHP, ironically named, our Housing, Homelessness, and Planning Committee. And I probably should leave it at that. I don't want to get too much in the substance, but I think we do need to continue this discussion, see what, if anything, we can help out with now, given the situation with the builder.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Madison? How much time will you?
Mayor, I wanted to ask that we pull number 2 for questions on the consent, but I also would say, given that there's litigation pending and that the city has extensive privity with Heritage, I think it might be better to have a closed session about those issues rather than, dive headlong into public meetings about it. And then maybe we could just do that before the committee, but I fully support the committee taking that, obviously.
What litigation are you referring to?
Pardon me?
What litigation are you referring to?
Well, as I understand, there's litigation between the homeowners and the developer and the...
On every property?
provider of the windows and other construction materials. And
Let me work with the city attorney and the city manager and find the appropriate.
Yeah.
It's clear there are legal issues that
We
need
have
to
the
be sorted
discussion.
out on our end before we.
yeah, it might just help us
Absolutely, yeah.
have some guardrails around what we can talk about publicly and what we can. I do want to support the neighbors and agree with my colleagues' comments. Thank you.
Let's, I'll work with the city attorney and the city manager and find the appropriate venue to scope out the limits of the discussion as well as the venue in which to have those discussions. Okay, let's move on. There's a request to hold item 2 from a suite motion on.
Mr. Cole's in the queue.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cole, I missed you. How much time will you need, Mr. Cole, approximately?
10 seconds.
Okay,
Can you hold item 1 for a question?
thank you. We'll holding items 1 and 2, and I believe.
We do have public comment.
Yeah.
We do have public comment on item 1, and we have public comment on all the consent. So do you want to take the public comment first, Mayor?
Yes.
Let's just do that. Ken Kuehls, followed by Lauren Siegel, and he has to recuse himself from 1. Actually, Ken, 1 second. The first 3 are going to be on item 1, so if you could step out for a second.
For the record, Mr. Jones, you want to recuse yourself on the record?
Yes, out of an abundance of caution, I'm recusing myself because my employer has been involved with this project of funding it. And my department actually, yes, okay, thank you.
County of Los Angeles. Okay.
Okay, Ken, go ahead. You have, how much time do we want to do?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay, Ken, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
My name is Ken Kuehls. I'm a District 4 resident. I submitted lengthy comments that included key strategic questions, and I trust you've taken the time to review them. I want to focus here on several important issues. One glaring issue is that the MND persistently refuses to say how much water is actually expected to be diverted and infiltrated, and use the word negligible. Tell that to the groundwater basin managers that have historically relied on downstream eat and wash diversions for groundwater replenishment for decades and struggled to maintain groundwater levels in the face of climate change. The Regional Water Quality Control Board is said to have suggested that Pasadena should have evaluated alternatives to the proposed project. The city's answer was that they didn't have to because CEQA only requires alternatives analysis for EIRs. Good project planning necessarily involves evaluating alternatives to arrive at the best solution, and you should expect it. In my comments, I point out that a simple alternative could have been to build a 9-foot diameter unlined pond that would achieve the same infiltration benefits as the 3.42 acre-foot underground structure that the project proposes. This would not only reduce the high cost of building the project using property tax dollars, it would also reduce the city's long-term general fund cost for operating a complicated facility. And we know that can be problematic given the recent council discussions of general fund availability for the fire department. It would also avoid the significant impact of thousands of truck trips hauling dirt and other construction materials through a neighborhood that includes an urgent care medical facility, residences, and 2 schools. And yes, you heard me say thousands of truck trips, 3,000. I urge you to defer approval of the ISMND and plans until the questions I've raised have been answered. Thank you for your time.
Thank you,
sir.
Lauren Siegel, followed by Jenna Cobb, then Prince on consent.
Ms. Siegel, welcome.
Hi, my name is Lauren Siegel. I feel there's a lot of issues with these stormwater projects, and this is the big one going forward. You are creating a new park with a giant infiltration basin that we are going to have to maintain for decades. These are also going in your district and your district and your district. You are creating a huge maintenance burden. And I want you to be prepared, and I want our parks to be prepared, and I want our urban forestry to be prepared. With the 5 projects up right now, this project is gonna remove 57 trees and encroach on 39. In total, your plans are to remove 259 trees that would be under the TPO. And I spent, as many of you know, the whole summer trying to fight PUSD on less than that. And thankfully, we were successful on 3 schools. But we are planting hundreds of trees, more trees than you require by the urban forestry in these projects. And I don't see how we're gonna maintain them. In the Sierra Madre Villa, Jean Masuda, you're planting 300 trees. This is hundreds of trees. This is a lot of work. This is a new park, let alone the infiltration basin that Ken Cools is speaking of. I would urgently, after the Arroyo Reuse DIR, the Water Quality Board letter, to make sure that before legally you don't do this to an EIR, that the Regional Water Quality Board is okay with the dry weather that you're taking, dry weather letters you're taking out, if this is water quality that we're putting into the Raymond Basin, and that one of you talk to the Raymond Basin Board about this project and the infiltration, and if
Lauren, your
this
time
is
has
the
expired.
best
Thank you.
use of this project.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Jenna Cobb?
Ms. Cobb,
Jenna Cobb?
Joining virtually.
thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Jenna Cobb, and I live in District 2 of Pasadena. And I'm commenting on agenda item number 1 in support of the Eaton Wash Stormwater Capture Project. And this is a very exciting project that connects environmental benefits to clean stormwater that needs to be in compliance with the Clean Water Act, as well as provide so many community benefits. It opens up a space that's currently not being used at all by the Pasadena community. And it will be available for community members to access safe outdoor space, green infrastructure to provide a connection from Willard Elementary to Eaton Blanche Park, which currently students would have to walk on Del Mar in order to get there. And there's so many nature-based learning opportunities available there for all ages. And projects like this help close the gap, creating spaces where people of all ages can gather, learn, and connect in positive and meaningful ways. And one thing that does help fund projects in a time where funding is very limited is stormwater quality work. And so this project both is able to invest in our green spaces and public health and community resilience, while also be able to connect to funding that is available for these types of projects. And this is particularly helpful since there's areas like where the Eaton Wash Stormwater Capture Project is that have historically lacked investment. So this project is an investment in health and equity and in the long-term well-being of our community. And I strongly support this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Prince, to speak on all consent? It's one topic. The full consent. Go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Who's getting duped here, folks? Who's getting duped? Not your Daisy Dukes, Mr. Mayor. I'm talking about getting duped. I think the public should have an understanding and clearly understood that these rations of stormwater captures or wells captures, bullshit capture, is just a gig to increase taxes on homeowners and bullshit us that we're in a water crisis. No, we're actually in a fucking homeless crisis in California and all these cities, and they're fucking polluting. They're polluting the areas where there's supposed to be waters, trees, beautiful greenery, that's beautiful arroyos. All that fucking shit is going to waste because of homelessness. Because you got one stupid governor up in Sacramento. I won't mention Newsom's name, but one stupid fuck, along with the other Duke bastards up there in Sacramento who write these laws that trap us and trick us into paying more taxes for fucking nonsense. You see, Gordo, before I became a political advocate, I thought out my life. Just like you politicians, we're all full of bullshit and all we want to do is pad our wallets and pocket and line our bank accounts with the public monies. So when you hear the facts, and I make statements highly offensive at times in public protest, is because I believe in one motherfucking thing. God hates you and we're all going to hell. Fuck you.
And that completes public comment on the consent.
Amen, brother.
Mr. Jones is recused for item 1 if you want to do
Yeah,
one.
why don't we go ahead and take up item 1? Mr. Cole? I'm sorry, Mr. Masuda was in the queue.
I apologize.
I apologize.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have I support this project, and I'm thankful with that person that was offline that spoke on her support. What staff do we have that needs to talk about trees or anything about this project? Because I've gone to so many meetings, and there were very few people that talked against this project, and I want to make sure that they hear the actual truth and the benefit of the project.
Okay. Mr. Pink?
Hello, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Greg DeVink, the Public Works Director, and with me tonight I have Brent Maui, the City Engineer, and Dawn Petschauer, the Stormwater Program Manager. And Dawn should be able to answer a lot of questions about this project. She's been involved with it for years now. So, Dawn, can you answer about trees?
Sure. Is this on? Oh, there it is. Mayor, members of the council, Dawn Petschauer, Stormwater Program Administrator for the city. I don't have the Urban Forestry Advisory packet with me, but the trees that are being asked to be removed in this project are mostly invasive. Tree of Heaven, if you're familiar with it, it's not only invasive, but it spreads quite fluidly in this space. As the person online mentioned, this is a city-owned undeveloped space. It's currently overgrown. There's a lot of homeless encampments, and so most of the trees that are being requested to be removed are in poor condition. There's no irrigation out at the site that's behind the urgent care in Del Mar. The Tree of Heaven is also very invasive, and there's a lot of slope stability issues on the side. So any of the trees that are being asked to be removed are because of the engineering design. And I don't have the report on me. It is online, and we did follow the process through Urban Forestry, who did approve the removal of the trees and the replacements.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Cole?
My question is, the primary focus of our stormwater capture is cleaning the water. We are responsible under federal law to make sure that the water that comes through our storm drains and is then discharged into bodies of water is not polluted. But we also seek significant congruent benefits, such as stormwater retention and recharging of the basin. So the question's been raised, and I'm looking for an answer. How much, both in dry conditions and in wet conditions, do we anticipate being able to recharge the groundwater through this project design?
Dawn?
I was waiting for that, but just making sure I'm being queued up. Sure, Councilmember Cole. So currently the project is at 90% design, so of course designs can shift. But as it currently is designed, we are looking at diverting 307 acre feet of storage, treatment, and release. So it's a combination. So about 207 acre feet per year will be filtered and returned back into the channel, and 101 acre feet are intended to be captured and infiltrated in the project. That is wet weather. I don't have an amount of dry weather. Dry weather flows continuously through a low flow channel that is owned and operated by the Army Corps in LA County. So we do know there's a significant amount of dry weather flow that does pass through, but it's sort of limited in the numbers that I know. We typically look at the acre footage of the wet weather.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, with no other questions, is that a motion, Mr. Rasuda? Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Hampton, I missed you in the queue.
No, I just put myself in the queue. I'm sorry about that. The one question I had was about maintenance. I know that there was a plan for a robust maintenance program and also training people. Could you maybe opine a little bit on that?
Yeah, sure, Councilmember Hampton. And I did hear the questions from the previous folks on maintenance. These projects as a whole, they
really go across two different departments, Public Works for the below ground structures, and then above ground, this is 3.5 acres of new park space, which is very exciting. If Coco is here, he'd be excited as well, but that does require additional maintenance. So for these projects, I think the long-term solution, as we've talked before, is to train internal staff. Because some of these elements are newer than what we typically do, they're biodynamic systems. We have opened up a clean water certificate program, which is a nationally accredited program that helps not only educate folks on the dynamics of stormwater management, but how to maintain and inspect these projects. We actually just had the Clean Water Certificate program at the city. Public Works sponsored the training. It had 7 Parks and Rec supervisors. It had 4 folks from MASH, who we hope someday become an extension so that we can have a pipeline of folks coming into the city that can be trained and knowledgeable about maintaining these. We also had Public Works staff from our inspecting crews, our street maintenance, and my stormwater section as well. The next steps in that, now that we've trained on it, is to look at tailoring specific training materials to the projects we're developing in the city, so that we may need to start with consultant support in the beginning for these projects, but that the long-term goal would be to transfer these off to city staff.
And then at one of the community meetings, it was brought up about the cost. Do we have an estimate of how much it would cost, and then who actually is paying for that, or is there grant opportunities to pay for the maintenance?
Sure, great question. All the projects are different. So Councilmember Hampton, there is one planned in yours. I think we established everyone except for you, Councilmember Lyon, but I'm coming for you. So currently, all of our projects are funded from design, in a good way, Blair, in a good way.
She wants to clean your water, man.
I do.
For the record, that's the second time you threatened you're coming for me. I'm keeping track, but okay.
In a good way. But all of the projects to date have been fully funded by grant opportunities, whether it's been props or Measure W or another combination of grant funds. And so the operation and maintenance currently for many of the projects are looking at Safe Clean Water. So Safe Clean Water, Measure W, is the first grant program to include an opportunity for operation and maintenance, which has precluded many of the grant programs that have supported projects like these across the region. Prop O for the city of Los Angeles did not include that, and that was a detriment to the city because city staff and the cost to the general fund can be quite extreme. There is no sunset clause on Measure W. It currently is in perpetuity. We just received funding for the Sierra Madre median over in Councilmember Masuda's project for over $200,000 a year for 5 years. That's the most you can ask for. After 5 years, we can go back and ask again. And that's based off the estimate for what we believe the median will cost through a combination of consulting and city support staff. We will do our accounting, and if we feel that that's not enough money, we will go back and ask for more. So the same would be similar to all of these projects. Measure A also offers an opportunity for operation and maintenance if you use some of that funding to support a project, so that's another grant opportunity. But that would be the intent, is to go for operation and maintenance fundings to support these projects.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Very thorough, thank you. Mr. Cole, you're back in the queue.
Very briefly, I will support the project, and I have been publicly impressed and appreciative of the efforts that we've made to have grant funding for both the capital and the infrastructure maintenance investment. But I remain concerned, given the dire challenges to water supply in our community, about designing these projects in a way that captures more stormwater. And I know that Public Works is aware of that, and I know that Dawn is aware of that. And so it's coming before MSC. And so I hope as we plan ahead, because there'll be more of these projects, we will continue to look for more robust stormwater capture.
Great.
Thank you.
Councilmembers. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Masuda?
Well, first of all, I want to thank Don for all your work and having the meetings, and especially finding funding for this program. But going further back, that was the Earthside Nature Center. And as you know, Noreen and I, we used to have a lot of, we would invite Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts to have their projects over there, and they did a terrific job. And I'm looking forward to this improvement so much. So thank you for all your work.
There was also 2 letters related to this item. One letter advocating for the city council to defer the matter until the public has an opportunity to review the material and SEQA documents. And one letter in support of the staff recommendation in the Eat and Watch project, which was posted online, distributed to the council as part of the record for this item.
Okay.
We need a motion.
So there's a motion for Mr. Masuda, second for Mr. Cole. I'm sorry, Mr. Hampton.
I'll second.
Second, yeah,
I'll second it now.
okay. First and a second, are there any objections?
Is that for the entire consent calendar?
No, just
No,
item
just for
1.
item one.
Just item 1, okay.
Thank you. Okay. Without objection, matters approved.
Mr. Jones.
Mr. Jones returns to the room, and now on the remainder of the consent calendar, we do
Well,
have a
item
letter.
2 was pulled, so you want to do item 2 first?
Who pulled item 2, Mr. Cole?
Mr. Madison.
Mr. Madison, Mr. Madison?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have some concerns about this state legislation that purports to prohibit watering of what they call non-functional properties. And it looks like single-family homes are not included. I want to make sure that that's the case, that I'm reading that correctly.
That's correct.
Mr. Reyes, welcome.
That's
Thank
correct.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And then, is this a reaction to the Colorado River situation, in your estimation?
I think that's played a part. And it's some tough regulations that are coming down, but some that are needed. And we'll see what enforcement looks like as the state continues to
And look, it
deal
may
with
be
that.
the public policy of the state that we should become, Scottsdale, Arizona, where everyone has rock gardens in their outdoor environment. But I know in my district, I've got some large parcels. The Ambassador College site, for example, there's a large expanse of lawn in that site that I assume is either institutional or HOA overseen, managed. It's part of our covenant for public space, open space, that sort of area through the middle of between the auditorium and the Merritt House and the campus,
And I would just say, I'm sorry to interrupt
Please,
you, but
no,
I'm
you know
very
where I'm
familiar with
going.
that space. It's more than likely that space would be exempt as it is a functional space. It's used as a park, it's used as sort of passive recreation, and for other things.
Okay.
And so that there is an exemption under state law.
Okay, because I think it's also functional for kids to walk barefoot in grass and for people to lay on the grass and look up at the sky. We have to defer to the state if they deign that that's no longer functional, and the balance of policy choices here is that we're not going to be able to do that anymore, so be it. But I'll look forward to the ordinance when it comes back. Thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Those might be issues to bring up at legislative policy as well as the state further.
Well, I inquired about that, but I think because it went to municipal services, Mayor, only one committee basically can take it. So I appreciate the time here just to answer my
Got it.
questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. But I was referring to going forward on some of these issues as the state encroaches more and more on our ability to determine our own future.
Certainly.
Okay,
We need a
thank you.
motion.
Is that a motion, Mr. Madison?
Sure.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. Mr. Hampton was first. With any objections? Seeing none. Did we have public comment on that matter? No. Okay. Okay.
We have to do the remainder of the consent.
I'll
now.
move the remainder.
Thank you.
Well, so without objection, item 2 is approved. Next, we move to the remainder of the consent calendar. There's a sweet motion. Do we have communications to report?
Not on that, no.
Okay, public comment?
No, we've already done public comment for the consent calendar.
I have a comment on number 5.
Mr. Cole, how much time will you need?
30 seconds.
Thank you.
I support item 5. I continue to believe that there is a value to training of our commissioners in how to be an effective commissioner, how to work with our staff, how to run efficient meetings, how to be proactive, how to work in committees, how to work with our staff. And everyone agrees that that's a good idea, but I haven't seen progress on it. And so I want to underscore the need for us to develop that kind of training. We can turn to many of our long-serving commissioners, including those that have served past their terms, to be helpful to develop that kind of curriculum. Exactly.
Way to foreshadow.
We have a motion and a second.
Well, we have commissioners in the room. I believe that the training is happening, and we've received updates on this level of training. Would you,
So the training predominantly is legal
Just for
training
the-
on ethics and Brown Act, and I support that. What I'm hoping is that we can supplement that, and I think the staff agrees that that's a good idea, but I'm not sure that it's been organized and implemented.
oh, generally, for
Yes.
all commissions? Okay, thank you. I thought we were just talking about thank you.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second.
Motion and a second. Mr. Madison's in the queue?
Yeah, just a quick question. I noticed that the CPOC itself split sort of 7-4 about these very regulations. I just wonder what the source of the disagreement was about that. Do we know?
We have Shannon Pryor, who's the principal administrative analyst, and she can address that.
Ms. Pryor, welcome.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question. The commission considered a draft of these regulations that included a ride-along with a sergeant every year thereafter. And some of the commissioners did not agree with that element of it. And so it was introduced as a motion to not have that, and that was what passed. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
Mhm.
I would hope that
There is a ride-along requirement that's in the municipal code, as
Initially,
well
yeah.
as within the first year to have a ride-along with a sergeant, or a supervisor, excuse me. But they did not want to continue that every single year in their service.
Okay.
And I would assume the commissioners are able to take right along, those that would like and would benefit from that.
As
I'm
many as
sure
they
the
like.
department would accommodate that.
Department has always been very accommodating.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is that a motion? Do we need a motion on?
We have a motion
Oh, we
and
have
a
a motion,
second.
okay. Are there any objections to the consent calendar, the remainder of the consent calendar? Seeing none, consent calendar is approved. And next, we will move to.
Items 7 and
Item 7,
12,
thank you.
which will be discussed concurrently, because 7 is the agenda report, and then the related item is item 12, the ordinance.
Mr.
Right,
Mayor,
sorry, Mayor.
Comes from Finance Committee.
Before there is a one speaker card that put down for multiple agenda items related to many of the items in the new business. So we would call them and have them speak on their items now for 2 minutes, and then that would complete their public comment. So Prince, if you would like to come up and speak for 2 minutes on the remainder of the agenda.
That's items 7 through 15, right?
Items 7 through 15.
And this matter did come before Finance Committee with unanimous recommendation for approval.
So
But
you
the
have
public
to-
comment is on
on
all of the
all
items,
the items.
7 through 15. And
Yeah.
then if someone just has one item, then
Right,
they can.
I'm referring to item 7. Sir?
Your time has started.
Really? What the fuck? 2 minutes and you start the time before I get to the podium? That's some shady ass business, man. You know, if you're gonna treat disabled people this way and elderly people this way in Pasadena, that's fucked up. But go ahead. Play your fucking games. Item number 7, fuck item number 7. I oppose, asshole. Housing and homelessness, planning committee, municipal service committees, public safety committees, they're all fucked up in every fucking city. All have multiple fucking problems, multiple failures, and I can put a check on it. Then, item number 8, fuck item number 8, fuck item number 9, fuck item number 10, fuck item number 11, fuck item number 12, fuck item 13, but I have a solution for 14. Advisory Boards Commission, send a letter to Catherine Barger and the Board of Supervisors. Fuck you on item 14. Thank you for listening to that point. Now, the last item, equal opportunity in employment annual reports. Well, everyone blames my president, Donald J. Trump. Donald J. Trump has done an excellent motherfucking great job for America. Stopping all your illegal immigration support and your stupid fucking sanctuary cities. That's what's made America good. Look at our streets. They're not as congested. They're not as heavy polluted. They are just full of fucking homeless people on the street. That you white motherfuckers too can't have an equal opportunity.
Your time has
to fix
expired.
the
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you.
That completes public comment on multiple agenda items.
So as,
Although there is one for 8 and 10, but that's related, and so we'll take that together. Go ahead. Mayor,
and so.
we're on 7 and 12.
Yeah, 7 and just.
We have a
items 7 and
fulsome
12.
staff report, Mayor. I'd be prepared to offer, or if the chair of the committee wanted to do that.
Yeah, well, it's been, as I stated, this has come through.
We do have on 12.
Finance Committee with full and unanimous recommendation for approval. I'd like to thank the staff for their work on this. It does offer some savings for the city, and I would recommend approval. So if that's a motion, Mr.
Second.
Madison, is there seconded by Mr. Lyon? And without objection, the matter's approved.
All offer.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. And
And,
on the ordinance,
Before, it was offered by Mr. Hampton, but there is a public comment on item 12. Asher Smith, you could speak on this, 2 minutes.
Mr. Smith, thank you for your patience.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Asher Smith. I'm a District 1 resident represented by Tyrone Hampton. I'm 26 years old, a Pasadena City College transfer, a graduate of the University of Laverne with a bachelor's in kinesiology. Today, I work in our community as a personal trainer with a passion for health and fitness while working part-time retail to bridge the gap, sometimes working 60-plus hours a week. I'm standing here on crutches, recovering from my second knee surgery in the last 3 years. Second surgery, my first surgery was covered by my mom's health insurance. My second one lapsed the last 3 months. I'm currently appealing my covered California health insurance coverage. So framing this clearly, I'm not here to complain. I'm here to offer insight as a young working resident and to learn the process required to drive real legislative change. This is my first city council meeting. I want to frame this clearly. I'm 26 years old. Who's been working continuously since the age 18, because my mom didn't let me work before then. And I'm contribute to the city. I work daily, but I'm still struggling with combined weight of physical injury and economic uncertainty. I don't speak for everyone, obviously, but this is a current reality facing a multitude of people trying to make it in our community today. Regarding the city ordinance, one thing my mom likes to complain about is the utility bill. So this is while refinancing past debt to save $6.8 million in net interest is a solid financial literacy, but Wall Street banks, municipal advisors, and band council all receive guaranteed fees to execute this $104 million refinancing debt. Because these funds are legally restricted to the Light and Power Fund, they belong directly to the ratepayers paying back to this debt. If Wall Street captures guaranteed fees for Pasadena's prime credit standing, our residents who are facing compounding 7% electric rate hikes deserve that efficiency applied to offset their monthly bills. In the short term, applying these
Sir, your time has expired.
In the short term, applying these $6.8 million in savings directly to the ratepayer relief is a necessary fix. But in the long term, Pasadena must break free from this perpetual cycle of debt extraction. Every decade, our residents pay millions in financing fees and compounding interest to fund basic public infrastructure.
Thank you. So the ordinance was offered by Councilmember Hampton. This is an ordinance of the City of Pasadena authorizing issuance by the city of not to exceed $104 million aggregate principal amount of City of Pasadena electric revenue refunding bonds, 2026 A Series, payable out of the Light and Power Fund, and approving the execution and delivery of a 12th supplement to electric revenue bond fiscal agent agreement and a continuing disclosure agreement in connection therewith. To conduct first reading, Councilmember Cole.
Yes.
Councilmember Hampton.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon.
Yes.
Councilmember Madison.
Yes.
Councilmember Masuda.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rivas.
Yes.
Mayor Gordo.
Yes.
The ordinance was successfully conducted first
Okay.
reading.
Next, we go to item 15,
Yes. Item 15.
and we are going to,
Item 15? We're going to.
We're going to go to item 15 first, because the rest of it sort of relates.
this also was the subject of a robust report.
I move the staff recommendation. The report was very thorough.
Okay. It's receive and file. Is there a second to receive and file?
Second, just a brief comment.
Mr. Cole?
So this is like many of the reports that we have a responsibility to approve, sometimes can be viewed as check the box, and we file this and forget it. I actually think, I agree with my colleague, this is a very helpful and thorough report. And I think the numbers that it shows show we've made a lot of progress as a city in opening up opportunities. We are still very heavily male-oriented in the, I forget the terminology that's used to describe essentially our public works and water and power staffing. And I think all of those go to issues of pay equity, et cetera. But I think this kind of data is very valuable and should provide meaningful background as we continue to make decisions about pay in our city, and as we make decisions, hard decisions in the future, about how to promote more local employment of our residents working for our city.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Mr. Hampton, you're up.
Yeah, and I appreciate Councilmember Cole bringing that up. I've had a couple of email dialogue back and forth with Tiffany earlier this month. Yeah, this month is not over yet. So earlier this month. And something that really came out at us was the decrease in African-American employment in the city, and to the point that Councilmember Cole's making as well about local hiring. What are real opportunities at actually hiring right here from Pasadena residents? And I know that you guys do a lot of outreach within our community, but is there any, maybe this is not a conversation for this is just a report, but to look at a little deeper is, what criterion are we putting in place that prohibit folks that live in this community from being able to apply for these jobs? Are those criterion that we can lift to make it easier to hire people that live within within our community? Also, there's a benefit to hiring within our community. There's even a benefit environmentally, because now you don't have folks driving from different cities into our community, which makes it, environmentally beneficial. So I would like to have a deeper discussion on this, and maybe that's a fuller discussion at EdTech. But we do have to do, in my perspective of these numbers, we have to do a better job at reaching out to underserved communities, in communities that feel like they've been overlooked for a long time. So, but good work overall. I appreciate the report.
Thank you. Is that a motion to
We have a motion and a
file?
second.
Oh, we do, okay. Who moved?
It was moved
Oh,
by
Mr. Lyon.
Councilmember Lyon and seconded by
That's
Mr. Cole.
Okay. Are there any objections to receive and file? See none? Great. Thank you. Ms. Jacobs Quinn? Sure.
So we'll forego the whole presentation, but I'd like to take the opportunity to share a new employee demographics dashboard that we just launched on our city's website. So if you wouldn't mind pulling up the presentation, and I can flip to that slide, which is slide 9. So this is a new public-facing tool to promote workforce transparency. And it is right here, slide 9. So you can get to it through the HR website, and this will allow anyone, the public, anyone here to explore information related to the city municipal staff by demographic information that you saw in the Equal Opportunity in Employment report, like gender, race, ethnicity, but also by job class, by union, by salary, by department. So it's really interesting. You can filter the information in a lot of different ways, and I think it makes the data easier to explore than just a static table. So you can even look at percentage of Pasadena residents. So I'd encourage anyone to take a look and let me know if you have any more information about it. But thank you, Council and Mayor. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, motion and second. Are there any objections to receive and file? File and receive?
We've already done that.
Oh,
so
we have, okay, good.
I was just waiting till people had left.
Oh, that's right, she wants to request, thank you. It's filed and received, or received and filed.
We're going to skip to item 9.
Item 9.
And which is related to item 13, which is the moving of the city council meeting from Mondays to Tuesdays. And so that would be good timing. And so that's what's before the council. This is per the direction of the council to bring this back at this meeting.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Are there any objections to Tuesday nights? No, see none?
But we still have second reading, so if
Yes.
the pilot doesn't work out.
Right.
We don't, yeah.
This will change the municipal code.
We'll have to undo it. Yeah.
But as I understand, it is an experiment that we're trying in September or October. Yeah. It's not, we're not committing to change permanently.
Permanently, no. It's a pilot.
Thank you, Mayor.
This ordinance would become effective for the meetings in October going forward. The pilot is this time in September to see how it goes.
Okay.
This is the first reading of the ordinance. If it's passed, then the code would be amended.
Permanent.
Well,
No, there's second reading.
After the second reading.
the
right?
second
It's
reading.
passed
If
after
it's
the
passed
second
after
reading.
the second reading, then it would be in our municipal code unless and until the municipal code is amended again.
And is there a 30-day lag?
No.
Or
There
this is
isn't.
immediate? So will it
It's
come
upon
back
publication.
on the second of our Tuesday meetings?
Yes, it'll come back on the 15th of September.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, next week.
I don't want
No,
to
2
prolong the
weeks.
discussion, Mayor, but did we decide that we had to land on one or the other? We can't say Monday or Tuesday in the code?
We would need to set a regular meeting day.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, that matters. Without objection, or do we need to roll call?
And now I'm going to do the ordinance, do the first reading of the ordinance. This is an ordinance of the City of Pasadena amending Title II, Article 1, Chapter 2.05, Section 2.05.060, and Chapter 2.28, Section 2.28.050 of the Pasadena Municipal Code to hold regular meetings of the City Council on Tuesdays. I need someone to offer.
Mr. Cole offers.
So to conduct first reading of that ordinance, Councilmember Cole?
Yes.
Councilmember Hampton?
Yes.
Missed where that was. Okay. Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Madison?
Yes.
Councilmember Masuda?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rivas?
Yes.
Mayor Gordo?
Yes.
The first reading was conducted unanimously. And now we would go to items 8 and basically 10 together, but 8. 8.
So good evening, Mayor Matt Hawksworth, interim city manager. We don't have a formal report for 8. It's really for the council to discuss. The one thing that we do need the council to do now that we've taken the first reading of permanently moving the council meetings to Tuesdays is to get input from the council or some direction as to when the council committee meetings, what dates those would fall on, because any committee meeting that falls on a Tuesday would obviously probably need to be rescheduled. So that's the item that we do need action on so that staff can start planning for agendas and a meeting schedule. And then there really is no other action that needs to be done tonight regarding all the other options that were put on the table about committee sizing. Outside of the staff report, council members had mentioned to me the idea of using alternates to try to help get quorums or reduce the number of members on needed for a quorum. Those are all things that the council could discuss today or in the future. But the one thing that we would be seeking direction tonight is the schedule of committee meetings going forward, starting in October.
First in the queue is Mr. Cole. Mr. Cole?
Thank you, Mayor. 2 brief points. First, I think that Tuesday makes a lot of sense, and so rearranging our regular meetings to accommodate that change, I think can be worked out with the chairs and the members of each committee, and we can sort through that. I am not excited about restructuring our committees. I think that the 3 committees that I serve on work extremely well, not only in terms of the content that we discuss, but also I think that the subject matter is coherent. And we just have a brand new committee that I really am excited about, the Housing, Homelessness, and Planning Committee that's really just gotten underway, and to fold that underneath this new structure. That said, I appreciate the effort made by the staff. We asked you for options, and we always appreciate when staff brings us alternatives. I do think that the main problem with quorum is twofold. First, there are people who know in advance that their travel or work schedule will not allow them to attend a particular meeting. And then there are last-minute cancellations for all kinds of reasons, family emergencies, work-related issues, or last-minute travel. I think having an alternate or 2 alternates for each committee would allow, when there is an anticipated absence, that we're only going to have 3, then the 4th could be scheduled to sit in, and then if somebody at the last minute cancels, we won't have those very embarrassing last-minute cancellations. I think those are the most onerous from the standpoint of the public. Sometimes literally the public will show up in the chambers for a meeting and then have to be told that the meeting is not happening. So I think there's value in having alternate members. That would be a relatively rare instance, but I think that's a much less disruptive change to our structure than restructuring all of our committees. Thank you.
By restructuring, you mean the, in terms of the information, I'm sorry, the jurisdiction?
Reducing from
Yes.
6 to 4 would be a
I see.
restructuring.
Okay,
I
not
think-
jurisdictional issues, but at one point, there was discussion about, folding committees together and having 2 committees, for example, Ed Tech and another committee.
Yeah, I think I think our committee structure currently makes a lot of sense. And I think that it also gives an opportunity for at least 6 members of the council to serve as chairs. And so I'm reluctant to reduce the number of committees now. Maybe after we've had some more experience going down the road of the new committee, we could take a look at that. That's only my
Okay.
opinion.
I just wanted to clarify. Mr. Madison, followed by Mr. Lyon, then Ms. Rivas.
Thank you, Mayor. I too do not support reducing the committees, and I too am grateful for the thoughts. I think, because we've always done it this way is not a reason to do anything, but I do think, not really for me to judge whether the committees I'm on and the one I chair are effective, but I think they are important. And for example, ledge policy, we have 2 legislative advocacy firms, one in Sacramento, one in Washington. It'd be hard to fold that and sort of cram it into some other agenda. I will say I brought this up when it came up initially that, it does look like these 2 major commissions, boards are meeting pretty much every Thursday of the month. And I think I would really like to see us get to a place where this room, this dais is just for the city council so that we have, full flexibility in terms of scheduling and all. In terms of the quorum, our quorum presently is 3 out of 4.
Unless there's 3 committee members, then it's 2 out of 3.
Okay, well, I think we should go back to the 2 out of 4 being a quorum, and that way the meetings can go forward even if there are only 2, and let the chips fall where they may. I do think that creates heightened sensitivity around the Brown Act, and I think frankly we'd probably be all well served by having a little tune-up about the Brown Act, because I think the best policy is probably not to discuss any agenda items outside the committee or the council structure, and that would keep you out of that problem. I think having alternates makes all of that exponentially more complicated. That now you almost don't know who people are talking to or who they should be talking to or who to write your correspondence if you're a member of the committee of the community. So I would like to see us not change the structure, even so much as adding alternate members, because that becomes like a Rubik's Cube. But I do think we should go back to having quorums of 2, and I think you will see the meetings resume more regularity if that happens. Thanks, Mayor.
Mr. Lyon, followed by Ms. Rivas, then Mr. Masuda.
Thank you, Mayor. So I guess first I want to say I really appreciate when we get reports that raise stuff that hasn't happened before or a new way of doing things or propose new ideas. So I really appreciate the creative thinking. I guess I want to go back and say, what's the problem? What are the problems, maybe, there may be more than one, that we're trying to solve with restructuring?
One of the challenges that we've had, and I think it's reflective on the September schedule that's in one of the staff reports, is getting all the meetings done on the days and times that they're scheduled for regular meetings. And so selfishly, or as a protective comment for staff, our focus when a meeting has to be rescheduled or postponed is we, of course, poll the committee and find out what day works. But all the staff supporting that committee have to throw out whatever they're doing and just pivot to whatever works. And it puts a lot of stress on staff trying to figure out what day and what time meetings are going to be. So the thought when we were going through this is perhaps fewer meetings if we could commit to specific days and times, and then it would improve how often we are able to hold meetings on the scheduled date and time. Because for us, as from a staff perspective, that's the most important. I think from the community perspective, that's the most important, because then they can count on being the first and third of whatever or something like that. So if we stick to the 6 and we don't restructure, that would still be the recommendation that I would strongly ask that when we come up with a new schedule with the committee chairs, that we really revisit this in a few months to say, are we able to meet on the dates and times that we just agreed upon as the new date and times, to see if it's working. And if it's not working, then the question is, having to attend fewer meetings, would that help?
That's helpful. Thank you.
And if I may just add, it's not just the staff, but it's the public who has to reorganize their timeline, their schedule. It's also other members of the committee that have to reorganize everything, and so it's definitely become a problem.
So I appreciate all of that, and it's really helpful to narrow in on what the problem is. The problem with the proposal, as I see it, is that it's still, it gets back to the same problem, which is that we have to commit to being here. Taking this job, it's a volunteer gig mostly, we get paid, but not a lot. Certainly not for the hours that we work, but agreeing to serve on the council and agreeing to serve on a committee means we have to show up and we have to block out the time and we have to block out 2 hours. And I will say I'm certainly guilty of, at EdTech especially, saying, I got an hour. And so that doesn't work. So we have to commit, and if we're not able to commit, then we need to give up serving on the committee. So I actually think this is not so much a scheduling problem as a policing problem. And we can either police ourselves, or we can decide to give that to the mayor. Or, we had a public comment from someone in my district. They sent it to me personally and then also sent it to the council, but suggesting that we publish the attendance record and the availability record when there's not a quorum of a committee. And it may be that sunlight is the best disinfectant here, but ultimately, whether we have 2 committees or 20 committees, we have to show up if we're going to be on the committees, and that's where the issue is. And if we have trouble showing up, we have to step back, but we also have to find a way to police that, I think, rather than consistently just waiting for everyone to show up if they're not going to show up.
Yeah. No,
So I'm open to talk about different ways of how we do that.
I agree, and I'll be looking at the makeup of different committees. I do have the authority to appoint members, so I'll be looking at that closely.
And for me, I'm opposed to.
Because I agree with everything you said.
Thank you, to taking the quorum back to 2, because there really important work, creative work happens that cannot happen here at the dais just in batting around ideas with a colleague. We can't make decisions and we can't do it with more than a quorum, but it's really important to be able to sit down with my colleagues occasionally and say, what are we going to do about the water thing? And bat around ideas and then try to bring those back to get them on an agenda. And with 2 people, you can't have those conversations. And we don't have dialogue here. We have a series of opinions, one at a time, but we don't have dialogue, and that is an important part of decision making. So I would be opposed to reducing the quorum again.
Yeah, it didn't work. We tried it, and it just didn't solve the actual problem. Ms. Rivas, followed by Mr. Masuda.
Thank you, Mayor. And just to repeat something I said before, and Councilmember Lyon repeated tonight, is our number one obligation and responsibility as a council member is to represent the residents of our district in these meetings, the council meetings, committee meetings. Everything else informs that work that we do at this dais. And so if you can't block out that time for the council meetings, for the committee meetings, I mean, that's the job. So I do agree, and I'm glad Councilmember Lyon brought this up. A member of the public suggested just more transparency on attendance and reasons for not attending and reasons for quorum not being met. Hopefully that sunshine will encourage those of us to be more present or to make the time and to be on time for every meeting. Something that came up, I mean, there are a lot of reasons why we all miss, and I know life is complicated and work is difficult to juggle, work-life balance. But one thing I think that I think as a matter of policy should establish in some way is that we shouldn't schedule our own district events at the same time as a council meeting or a committee meeting. And I know that happened at least one time this past, during the past year, I believe I had heard about. And it doesn't matter who did it, we can all, commit to that moving forward, because I believe that prevented us from having quorum or from starting late. I don't recall specifically on that meeting, but I think that's an easy low-hanging fruit thing that we can all agree not to do moving forward. I support standardized meeting times, 5 to 7. Again, for committee meetings, I think is a reasonable amount of time for us all to block out. And I go back and forth on the quorum, the 2 versus 4. I'm sorry, the 2 out of 4. There's been several public safety committee meetings we would have been able to hold this past year had it only been 2. But again, it is helpful to sometimes have those conversations short of the quorum amount beforehand to start brainstorming and bouncing ideas off one another. So in those moments during this past year, I really wish we could have moved forward with just 2, but I understand we tried it, and I am persuaded by Councilmember Lyons raising that issue, the ability to just have limited discussions outside of the meetings under the quorum limit, I think is helpful, is productive, and helps the conversations once we are present move much more efficiently. So
Thank you, Ms. Rivas. Mr. Madison, Mr. Masuda, followed by Mr. Madison, then Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just make my comments short. I currently think that the committee structure is fine. I think it works well, and I'm open to having 2 members to be the quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Masuda. Mr. Madison, followed by Mr. Cole.
Thank you for the follow-up, granting me that, Mayor. I just want to be clear that I don't debate the efficacy of members of the council communicating outside public meetings. My concern is the Brown Act forbids that, at least to the point where decision-making is being made outside the public meeting. So it's not about whether it's helpful or efficacious. It would be.
Would the city attorney weigh in on that? I believe you're incorrect about that, Mr.
Well,
Madison. It doesn't forbid it at all.
Let me finish my comments. It's don't dwell on my word choices. The point here is it would be very efficacious if we could all talk before the meetings and come up with solutions. But that's what the Brown Act forbids. And the problem with sessions
It
where you
forbids
bounce.
it with a quorum.
Yeah.
Of the
Okay.
body. Okay.
Well, but not with a quorum all at the same place in time. There's a
They can be-
serial violation of the Brown Act, so.
Right, if it amounts to a quorum, if at different locations or together, if it reaches
When
a
it
quorum,
amounts
that's
to
a
a
violation.
quorum, right.
Like
So
when
if I bounce an idea off of one member, and then that member bounces the idea off another member.
Right.
And
And if that
I'm
reaches a
meanwhile
quorum-
bouncing it off yet another, and now we're in danger. And I think, for me, and I'm not pointing fingers here, I'm just saying, I think the safest course is really bright lines around that. And when I meet with constituents, they always want to know, or stakeholders, they always want to know, well, what does this council member, what does the mayor think about it? And I have a little speech I give where I say, I don't know. You're going to know better than I am, because except for public statements or statements in the meetings, I don't have the ability to ascertain that. And I really think, again, for me, I'm most comfortable with bright lines around that. And look at our friends over at the school district, the major investigation because, they were texting allegedly back and forth. A couple of them were subject to recall. That's one of the issues in the recall. I just think the safest course, and again, I repeat, I think we would all benefit from a little tune-up about the Brown Act. I do think the regularity of meeting times would really help. And, we get into a situation sometimes where we have so much work. Next week, perfect example, that it's a holiday week, it's a short week, we're not meeting. It's a perfect time to plan family or work, travel or business, and boom, now we've got a special meeting on the Tuesday. And so, by the way, we do publish the attendance records. I mean, that is wide open for everybody to see. And I think ultimately it's for each of our district residents and constituents to provide us with feedback about our performance in that regard. And then the final thing I wanted to mention, so I do think regularity of meeting time and place, if we can get to a point where we're not trying to reschedule or figure out, well, darn it, there's a commission meeting that afternoon in that space. For me, we've sort of creeped earlier and earlier in the day, and our charter says that we should have jobs and families, and our compensation structure, even as adjusted, is obviously not one that you could raise a family on alone. So for me, 5 o'clock even is difficult. I think it's difficult for some members of the community too. And we do tend to hear from the same people in the community. And I think that should be a consideration here too. How do we maximize the ability of the community to meaningfully participate in the work that we do. And then finally, I just want to mention that at-large policy, we've been working for some time on other ways to sort of improve our efficiency and our transparency. And I expect that our next meeting will actually come up with some recommendations around that. So it's good we're having this discussion tonight. Thank you.
We do have regularly scheduled meetings, but that's, the issue is, we often get calls from people, from members of the council, that they can't make it, that, and so it calls for a special meeting of the committee in order to keep the work of the city. And I've harped about this for quite some time. And, the work of the city has been impacted. And so I think we, have to do a little introspect and look at whether or not people can serve on committees, or whether we should change, or whether I should change the makeup. I am going to look at the makeup of the council. I am going to look at, cancellations of committees. Finance, the housing committee has done well. MSC has done well, but there are other committees that, it just, we can't seem to get that workflow, keep that workflow going, and it's impacted tremendously the work of the city. I still chuckle at the one time when some of my colleagues were surprised that a committee they served on was a 4-member committee. And said it was that it was a 3-member committee. And I mean, that's real. That happened. So,
I didn't remember.
I'm sorry? Yeah. So, we can't have that and run a complicated and complex organization like the city of Pasadena. So,
And Mayor, as we have this discussion, tomorrow is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Legislative Policy Committee, which I chair. And we can't do it because you and I and Councilmember Lyon are going to Denver tomorrow. I mean, these things do happen.
That's an outlier, Mr. Madison. The
I agree,
fact that 3 of us
but there are a lot of outliers, and they start to add up.
Yeah.
They really do.
They have
so,
added up.
Yeah.
They don't start. They've added up for years now. Mr. Cole?
Thank you. 2 points, and I would just start with, I'm sensitive to Mr. Madison's reality check that most of the people around this dais, with the exception of myself and Mr. Masuda, have very demanding jobs. And I think both of us are very sensitive to that reality. And whoever serves on the board is going to have that challenge, right? Whoever comes after all of us is going to, because we have this reality of it's not a full-time job. So if we can if we start at 6 or we start at 7 or whatever works for all of you to be able to serve, I'm open to that and I'm flexible to that, and I'm sure Gene would be as well, but I won't speak for him. But we understand, and that's why I gave up my full-time job, is I knew that it was going to be very difficult to do a great job there and to meet my obligations here. So if we want to be flexible on that, I'm open to that. The principal problem, I think, is not that people don't show up for meetings, it's that meetings don't happen, right? I mean, if 3 people show up, the 4th one not being there, I don't think is the end of the world. It's that when we can't have 3, that's the problem, and that wouldn't necessarily be picked up in a dashboard of attendance, because it's really the people who in advance say, I can't make the meeting, that trigger the cancellations. Last point is simply this. Again, I think that a commitment to serve is one that we all should try to make in advance and have some reasonable expectation about how often we can miss a meeting, and that's I think just a a relatively straightforward decision to make.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. Mr. Hampton, followed by Mr. Lyon.
You know, maybe looking at the times of the committees prior to the change of the time of the committees, Public Safety Committee would meet the hour before, hour two. I think it was either an hour before the council meeting or an hour and a half before the council meeting. I don't know if that made more, I mean, it seemed like the Public Safety Committee met more regularly then. I don't know if that makes a difference. I think the idea was that we would have meetings at 5 o'clock and it would help with attendance from the public, but we've also opened it up for attendance from the public from telecommuting in or zooming in, what they call it, telecom, thank you, telecoming in. The other thing is the idea of having an alternate, maybe it works, as long as that alternate knows well in advance of when, someone's potentially going to be on vacation or, they're out with COVID or the flu or whatever it may be. The two-person committee seemed to be working for the time that it was working. And I know that there may have been some issues potentially with
It was three people,
the
quorums of
three-person
two.
quorum, so that two people couldn't make a quorum. It seemed like the meetings were moving. It seemed like we had meetings there. I mean, it didn't seem like a bad idea, and still doesn't seem like a bad idea to me. We still have opportunity to have those discussions that some of us would like to have here at this dais as well. So I don't know, I'm just trying to brainstorm some ideas, but ultimately, if it just stays the way it is, then it stays the way it is. But maybe having a meeting, the public safety meeting, right before the council meeting might help. I don't know. I mean, it was like that before.
Let me say this, and I've done this with the committees that I've chaired. It's up to the committee to make a determination. If the time isn't working, then committee chairs are free to say, let's find a time that works, together with the staff, of course, as well as with the committee members. That's something that's not, shouldn't be news to anyone. We've done that before. Mr. Lyon, followed by Mr. Jones, and then Ms. Rivas.
Briefly on the Brown Act, I don't want the public to be misled. The Brown Act prohibits a majority of members of a body from deliberating or making decisions outside of a meeting, and conversations between council members and between elected officials or appointed officials routinely begin with the announcement of who we've talked to about whether we've talked to anyone else about the subject. Typically, I'm talking only to you, and then the other council member affirms that. That's the way that conversation goes between the members who communicate with each other. And it's productive, and it is helpful, and I think it's important. I think that a fixed schedule for each committee, I don't think it has to be the same for all the committees, but a block of time, and a 2-hour block of time is reasonable. And then I would also support having sort of published, we publish the minutes of meetings, but we don't publish the attendance as its own chart. We also don't publish availability when we cancel the quorum, so I would support both of those.
Okay, agreed. In terms of, nobody's talking about violating the Brown Act here. I think we can all unanimously agree that's the case. The other problem that and so let's just put that to rest. That's a red herring in my view. The other issue that it raised when we had two quorum committees, two-member quorum committees is, sometimes we could find ourselves in a public meeting or in a meeting with residents, and oftentimes, two of us, myself included as mayor, will join colleagues at a meeting, whether it's a neighborhood association meeting or a small group of residents, and it presented a problem there as well. because now we're talking about subject matter that may appear before the council, and that that created questions about violations of the Brown Act. And so there are all sorts of holes. And in the end, we're looking to solve a problem that's pretty defined, in my view. We schedule meetings. We have to make a commitment to attend those meetings. Many of us do and have. Mr. Jones, followed by Ms. Rivas.
Thanks, Mayor. First I appreciate Matt and his team for putting together the recommendations or the ideas of the committees. I mean, I'm fine with the way the committees are right now, especially with MSC. I think we've been on a good track, and I think we get a lot of work done. HHP, we've just started that, and I think we've gotten a lot of work done. And then when we do meet on public safety, we tend to get a lot of work done. I guess, what is the core issue we're trying to solve, going back to Councilmember Lyon? Like, are there committees that just are not meeting? Because I know public safety, we haven't met, there's occasionally we won't meet. So that, I would say maybe that's one. Are there other committees, I guess, that I'm not on, that don't meet? I'm looking at city clerk or city manager.
I don't attend all the committee meetings. Actually, I don't attend committee meetings. I'd have to do some research. I know that, what I've noticed is that maybe the regular scheduled meeting doesn't occur, but then a special meeting later on is tried to coordinate.
The staff rep sends out an email, right, to
So the staff member is supposed to, before the regular meeting, ascertain whether there's a quorum that's going to be available. Then the day of the meeting, they'll call and ascertain whether the quorum is still available.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's that second check-in where they find out, oh, I have a last-minute conflict, and that might affect the quorum.
Because maybe that's something, perhaps we just look at the committees that are struggling with this.
Right.
That if they're struggling with getting quorum, then we can look at maybe a 2-member quorum just for that committee. Like the vice mayor brought up, right? A 2-member quorum just for public safety, a 2-member quorum just for whatever other committees are struggling.
Legislative policies.
Legislative policy. So a 2-member quorum there, or even why not everyone? I mean, because I think I hear what my colleagues are saying about, without violating the Brown Act, it's good that Jason gets my opinion on water, right? I mean, it makes sense. He's a smart guy for that, but I'm just.
Well, it's also a clever way of complimenting yourself I've ever heard.
But no, I think that, it's been working. Yeah, it's been working, right? For like MSC, it's been working for HHP. If it's not working for a committee, then we can look at moving to 2-member quorums.
It's also a function of the number of people who are appointed to a committee. So if I appoint 3 people versus 4, then it's 2 persons who are the quorum. So
maybe that's something we revisit as well. And then the tardiness, the lateness. I mean, look, I think it's commendable, obviously, that we have folks that are retired or retired from their jobs to serve, and then there's obviously a lot of us who are working full time, and sure, you could block it out, but when you're an employee, if something comes up, I mean, it's you can't just say no. Imagine if anyone that serves this council right now, or the city clerk or the city manager, if we want to have a special meeting, but they served on a committee or council, maybe they're running late. I think that's just the reality of any working professional. And that's oftentimes that's just communication, I would say, is that communicate with the staff rep on that committee or the city clerk, letting them know that, hey, we're going to run late. I think we've had this happen before, is that I believe we canceled a meeting to have a special meeting like 30 minutes later, and we was able to get that out. So I think that's just a form of communication. But I wouldn't want to discourage anyone. And I've heard this, I think last week or whenever we discussed this item. I wouldn't want to discourage anyone from like pursuing or running for city council because they're an employee and they think, oh, I'm going to be late to city council or be late to my committee meetings. So that's, I think, to me, to sum it up, is that we just look at the committees that are having those issues, and then maybe we just try to address whatever issues those particular committees are having.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah.
And I think that Councilmember Jones brought up a good point, that when we know in advance that we can repost a special meeting notice, but the Brown Act requires 24 hours. So we have to know at least the day before, 24 hours before the meeting's going to start, that we need to post it for a half an hour later, or, whatever that would be. So again, I think the point what you brought up about communicating helps staff and helps us all, convey to your colleagues, like, hey, this is what's going on. And I think the surprise is lessened, and maybe the issues are lessened.
And the communication early is important.
Yeah.
Because even though he said 24 hours, they need more than 24 hours.
There's
'cause they have to
preparation
type
and-
it up and
yeah.
get people to send it.
So there's preparation above and beyond the posting requirements that the law imposes. There's also preparation time. And again, the scheduling of other committee members. Everybody's got to flip everything around, including the staff. Ms. Rivas, followed by Mr. Hampton.
Just one more thought that I had I forgot to mention, and
And we do have public comment on this. So.
yes, and we have some committees that meet twice a month, some that meet once every month. In practice, I think at least a couple of our committees probably meet every other month. Maybe it's worth the chairs of every committee just evaluating whether their committee should go to an every other month schedule. If there's not enough on each agenda, and that'll make it easier moving forward. If at the beginning of the year, there's 6 meetings, and you block those out at the beginning of the year, hopefully that will avoid a lot of these issues. So just something for each chair to consider moving forward.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I would caution us that we don't want to further contribute to the city business not being completed by, having a fix that, is really, can be fixed in other ways. The committees used to meet twice a month, as an example. Many of us remember that. Then we went to once a month again, trying to solve for a problem. Let's look at the makeup of the committees. Mr. Hampton. Oh,
Sorry, we were trying to communicate.
Brown Act violation.
I didn't say anything.
Were you also?
Sergeant at Arms will escort you out.
No, so having an alternate, I appreciate Councilmember Cole bringing that up. I don't think that's a horrible idea. I don't, I mean, I really don't. I think the city attorney would really have to figure out if that would be a violation of the Brown Act. And, maybe if, this sounds like this is not going to get resolved tonight. So we're going around in a circle right now.
And I talked to the vice mayor, Ms. Rivas, and there'll be some issues that needs to massaging with the staff. And I think between she and I and the staff, we can come back with some recommendations and make some suggestions to the council. Anyone else who wants to join, short of a quorum, of course, of any one committee.
So Mayor, the other point I wanted to make about the 2-person or the 3-person committees, or having a 3-person quorum, meaning that 2 people could have a meeting, is the way the Brown Act works is we can't have a discussion with those that are on the committee with us, more than 2 people, correct?
Well, it depends on what you're.
Or a quorum of
for
the
example,
council.
let's say, for example, we're gonna have an item that is an action item that is coming to our committee. We discussed this at committee and it passes at this committee, it's gonna come to city council with 2 people. At city council, I have the ability to speak to a quorum that is not on that committee, less than a quorum, less than a quorum that's not on the committee with me.
Right.
That means I still have the opportunity to talk to my colleagues. I didn't know that. Actually, I was under the impression that if it came to a committee, that once it had came to that committee, I could only talk to a quorum of the city council, meaning that I could only talk to one more member of the council about an issue.
Okay, you
No,
can,
no, I'm not admitting to violating, right? Because I don't, look, how many of y'all get phone calls from me? Exactly. So I'm not admitting to violating anything. But I was under the
you
impression.
can talk to less than a quorum of the city council. And if, but if you're talking to the same people who are on your committee, then that's a potential violation of that committee's majority or quorum.
So if District 1, 3, and 4, I'm just gonna give, 1 through 4 are on a committee, right? There's 4 people on the committee.
Okay.
Committee. And it comes out of committee with approval to move to the city council. Maybe 3 in favor, or maybe it was a split decision. Now,
Well, that's a
I could have
problem. You couldn't talk to somebody else because that makes it 5.
Right.
so that makes it 5. Okay.
If you
So that's
talk
the
to
point I was
somebody
trying,
else
okay.
off the committee.
Quorum of the council, then
Oh,
you
so,
gotta.
all right, that's fine.
So
Okay,
you're
so let
right.
me say, there's 1 through 3. Let's say there's, let's say, there's 3 people on the committee, that's what I meant to say.
Okay.
If there's 3 people, 1 through 3,
Okay,
and, 1, 2, and 3, District 1, 2, and 3. Now I have the ability to talk to the mayor about the issue when it comes to the full city council.
the mayor's not on it.
He's not on the committee with me.
I just say I rest my case that we need a tune-up.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's fine. I mean,
And we will be doing the AB 1234 training.
Yeah.
I still think that I'm not having these discussions anyways, but I still think that the
Yeah.
idea of having the discussion that Councilman Lyon mentioned is still it's still an ability to do that, to still continuously have that discussion. So having it back to the 3-person committee that Councilman Madison mentioned, which I also mentioned again last week, I think will help with having regular meetings.
Okay, with that,
Those birds.
Mr. Cole, you want to put this?
We seem to be going around and around on the
We
two. I have not weighed in. I'll just weigh in briefly with my perspective on this. I think there are 2 severe problems with a 2-person quorum. One is you have 2 people and they don't agree. What's the recommendation of the committee, right? I mean, it's 1-to-1, and what's the whole point of even having had that meeting? More significantly to me is I agree with both Mr. Madison's concern about always scrupulously being cognizant of the Brown Act, and with Mr. Lyon's point that within being scrupulous of the Brown Act, we can talk to another member, and that can be useful. I think it's absolutely essential for a committee member to be able to talk to their chair, right? Because if you can't talk to the chair about, I would like to have this issue on the agenda, and here's why, then you are really significantly at a disadvantage. And so I just think there's some value to that. I would hate to give that up. The ability to, as a member of the Finance Committee, to talk to you, Mr. Chairman, to MSC, to you, Mr. Chairman, and you, actually, you also are the chair of HHP. And I just think that's not something I would want to give up.
Quick question on that. You don't think it's effective to ask for to agendize an item at the end of the meeting while everybody's in the meeting? That's what I typically ask of my colleagues.
That is another way, but oftentimes there's an opportunity. We're not allowed to spend much time in those kind of quorums. You just ask for something, and I think that framing the agenda is valuable. That's my opinion, and I respect others' perspectives.
Thank you. Mr. Madison, and then we'll go to public comment.
Great discussion. I think this is good when we spend time talking about how we do what we do. you know, the committee I chair, legislative policy, is a bit unique because both legislatures don't meet all year. You know, the California legislature, basically in odd years, meets only 7 months, 8 months. In even years, they meet one more month. You know, we all are familiar with the fact that today was the day. All the bills have to be in. Governor's going to act on them, and that's that. So too with Congress. Congress meets about half the year. We've been having, even with the difficulties of the scheduling and the availability of the space when we need to schedule a special meeting, and I'm telling you, that is real. We've had many times, and our minutes would reflect it, when we've recognized in advance a date won't work, like tomorrow, where we've got this fact-finding mission for the 710, and it has been next to impossible to find a date when this room was available that we could get a quorum. But we've met 7 to 9 times a year, and I'm not aware of a single legislative policy issue that has been missed because of anything having to do with our meetings. Man, the tortuous arguments around why we have to be able to talk to one another offline, it makes me nervous. And for me, we shouldn't assume if we had a two-person quorum, we seem to be assuming that the meetings will all just be 2 people. No, hopefully that would incentivize greater participation, because now we know the meeting's going forward. Like what I did, I had a business trip planned next week. When I was told, sorry, the meeting's going forward, I canceled the business trip. I'm going to be at that meeting. And we would then have the records to talk about this sunshine, because then the 2 people would have the meeting, hopefully on a rare occasion, and then it would be shown that there was either an excused or unexcused absence or what have you. What I'm wondering, Mayor, is would you be open, you spoke in deference to the committee chair's powers here, would we be open to, and this probably would require a code amendment, but to letting the committee chairs determine the quorum for their committee? Because that would be another approach to test some of these arguments, to see, you know, check in 6 months from now and see how it's going.
I think that goes back to my original recommendation, is like, if it's public safety and ledge policy that are struggling to meet, then maybe lowering the quorum to 2. And maybe struggle is not
I disagree
the right
with the
word.
assertion, but I'll
maybe
let you have the
struggle is
win
not
if
the
you
right
want
word,
to.
but
If you want to give
yeah.
me and the chair of public safety the ability
Yeah.
to both have the meeting schedules and the quorum, I'm all in.
You have the authority to set the meeting schedules.
Right.
And so that's, again, that's not an
Quorum
issue.
is set forth in the code.
Yeah. So let's, we'll look at all these issues and come back with some recommendations. In terms of, you know, the Congress and the state Senate legislature meeting, that's always been, you know, only a few, being in session only a few months or 7 months out of the year, whatever the months are. That's always been the case. It's never changed. And frankly, the time to really dig in on legislative matters is before they get into session, because that's when the work can be done to influence what bills are going to make it through or not make it through. And so that's when the city should really ramp up its legislative platform, look at various issues, work with our legislators, even visit Sacramento.
And
So-
that's the case, Mayor. I mean, if you look at our record, we almost never meet in August. We almost never meet in December, because there's just not much happening and there's a lot of people out. Council tends to be dark in August and December. The bulk of the meetings at Ledge Policy. And we can talk about other committees, like, you know, the ad hoc
let's do
committee
that.
on the 710, which met
Which
3
we-
times in 4 years.
Well-
But I don't want to debate that.
Well-
All I'm saying is, if you look
I
at the
don't know
record
that-
of.
well, we met more often, maybe, yeah.
No, we did
Mr.
not.
Lyon and I did.
In fact, we did.
No.
We did.
No.
I quite promise you, I had a
okay,
bunch of
let's-
meetings with
let's-
just the 2 of us.
Well,
There were
all
some
those-
meetings where there was just me and sometimes.
Let's fact
just
check
me and
that
Mr.
then,
Lyon.
because,
Yeah, oh, that's right, Mr.
yeah.
You may have missed those meetings, Mr. Madison. but the
No,
rest of us-
I didn't miss the meetings, Mayor. The last meeting of that ad hoc, I think, was just me and Mr. Lyon, because we insisted on not canceling it the day of because we've been told. But I don't want to debate that.
No,
I think
that's not
there's
the
room
case.
for improvement
I know
for
you-
all of us. And if you look at ledge policy, since that's what we're talking about, the bulk of our meetings are in the first half of the year when the bills are in play.
So we
Thank
should
you.
include ad hoc in the public record as well, ad hoc committees. Okay. Because the record is very different, as you recall it, Mr. Madison. With that, public comment?
Sonia Burnt, James Maddox, Humera, Yadi, and then Allison Henry is participating remotely.
Ms. Burnt, welcome.
2 minutes.
Yes.
Good evening. The recommended 4 committees and combining of subject matters would have a substantial negative impact on public engagement. Can you imagine cramming disparate subject matters like business promotion and homelessness and affordable housing into one committee agenda and turning the lights off after 2 hours? The HHP committee had its first meeting just last January after years of community pleas for such a committee focused on the critical issues of affordable housing and homelessness. The recommendation is to combine it again with economic development and call it the Housing, Human Services, and Economic Vitality Committee. Over the last 6 years, I attended many ed tech meetings. During that time, serious discussions of homelessness were few and far between. I never heard a serious discussion of using city-generated funding to provide meaningful housing assistance to our unsheltered folks. There was no accountability for the lack of any meaningful progress toward ending homelessness in our city, despite numerous fact-intensive letters and comments from the public. The rationale stated in the staff report for combining homelessness with economic development states as follows, quote, "By adding economic development, City Council can broaden the committee's community-facing policy portfolio. This grouping aligns social outcomes, housing, health, homelessness, with economic mobility, business climate, and community well-being," unquote. This statement is utter nonsense. Ending homelessness is about housing, case management services, and health and mental health services, not economic mobility and business climate. In sum, in order to seriously tackle our homelessness crisis, please make sure to keep housing and homelessness as a separate committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burnt.
James Maddox, followed by Humera, then Yadi, then Allison Henry online.
Mr. Maddox, if you've heard your name, please step forward and form a line.
Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you. Good evening. My name is James Maddox. I am a resident in District 4. We have 6 committees. And they all say you have a mission statement, but the mission statement is all the same. So it's not specific to each of the committees. So I don't know what those mission statements are. I would offer that you really need there's a lack of a specific mission statement, and that reflects the lack of any specificity on the part of the committees. Now, I would offer that currently the reading of the mission statement for all of the committees is the City of Pasadena is dedicated to delivering exemplary municipal services, response to our entire community, and consistent with our history, culture, and unique character. I would offer that you add, and we may or may not meet depending on how we feel. That's what I would think you might want to take a look at. Or, as a solution, here's a solution for you. Members of the committee contact your constituents and ask them to volunteer to write a mission statement that is specific for your committee. There are approximately 140,000 people in the city of Pasadena. You might want to think that, well, maybe some people out there can help you put this together. There are citizens who might want to be really interested in working on a mission statement that's specific for the various committees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Humera, followed by Yadi. and then Allison Henry.
Yeah, I'd really like to thank staff, first of all, for preparing the report so that council had this discussion. Really, the problem is that a lot of committees' meetings get canceled. It's more of a pervasive problem with some committees than with others. I can tell you, I have a spreadsheet for all of the committee meetings from 2025 and 2026. I compiled the information. It took digging. It's one of the things about taking public transit. When you're not driving, you can sit and do stuff like that. I agree with Councilmember Lyons and Rivas's assessment that we really need to push council members to stick to the commitment and have transparency for the public. Because the reality is that these committees deal with a lot of important work that needs to get done that does not get done when the committees don't meet. Things like switching to 6 p.m. I think would be a good option. 5 p.m. is most likely difficult for a lot of council members, also difficult for a lot of committee members. 6 p.m. or 6:30 would most likely be a lot better time. I will also reemphasize the need for a dashboard for the committee to see attendance at committees, not just to see the attendance. And yes, that information is available if somebody has the time to dig for it. And when a committee does not meet for 4 months in a row, that means you don't have the minutes to go back and get the information. So it's not as easy as it seems. For example, Ledge Paul just last met in May. Last met in May. So we still don't have the official meetings for May. But it's also important for transparency. Like tonight, I just updated my spreadsheet to show that Ledge Paul is not meeting tomorrow because 3 of the members are traveling for what I assume is city business. So it's also an opportunity for transparency.
Your time has expired.
For the public. So we need a dashboard so people know why meetings aren't happening. If quorum is not met, we want to know why not, who is not attending. That's basic information.
Your time has expired.
The community is entitled to have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yadi?
Hi, I just want to say thank you for having this conversation. You know, this really has been a chronic issue. The first time that I was coming to council to speak was public safety, and it was canceled 30 minutes after the start time, and that's when I met all of PPD command staff and a bunch of the senior staff that was here waiting to do their presentations. And, you know, I'm not going to propose a solution. I think there's a lot of different ways that you can get at this. But really it does disenfranchise the public from engagement, especially like talking about the legislative committee. Today's the deadline for discussing bills, and I wanted to propose for the council to weigh in on legislation to protect Eaton fire survivors, to work on, you know, making sure that there's more regulations around data centers and privacy and other issues that are affecting us. And there isn't an opportunity to do so when the cycle is just closing, but maybe, I don't know if there's a special meeting, maybe there's still a chance to get in letters to the governor before he signs in October. So just please, again, one of the recommendations to start later is really good, but something needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank
Yadi,
you.
the legislative session to submit bills ends, you said today, is it for the state or for the state?
Allison Henry is going to participate remotely.
Great, thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Excellent. So thank you, Mayor and Council, for hearing my comments. My name is Allison Henry. I'm currently serving as the chair of the Pasadena Rental Housing Board, and I'm grateful for all the discussion that you all have had tonight regarding meetings and quorums. And thank you to staff for preparing a really good report. I would just offer up a few thoughts. Having alternates may not be a bad idea. We have that on the Rental Housing Board. As chair, I'm pretty diligent in trying to keep up with who's going to be attending and who isn't. That way I can make sure alternates will be in play, and that includes preparing for the meeting. I hate to say it, it warms my heart that you guys might need Brown Act training. The rental board has had multiple Brown Act trainings. It's actually been very helpful for us because we've got folks on the board who want to figure out how do you start to create consensus, but do it within the eyes of the law. I would just say on that front, changing a quorum to 2 for your committees does make it hard to build consensus. The last thought I would provide to you is if it's the will of the council mayor to break up the committees, I saw that the Rent Stabilization Department was in the Operations, Innovation, and Community Services bucket that you had for committees. And I was a little concerned with that just because I'm worried about the collaboration that would be lost between an aligned department, the Rent Stabilization Department and the Housing Department. Again, I speak as a member of the board, not as staff. But just as an example, in the latest Pasadena Rental Housing Board quarterly report that's now been posted for our agenda this coming week, there are 33 eviction notices that were issued for District 3. And I know that the board, we've discussed this as part of our priorities, but it seems to undermine the collaboration that we would hope to have. with
Allison,
the
your
other,
time's expired.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. That completes public comment on item 8.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And more to come and more work to be done on this issue. With that,
So we have item, so we're done with item 8
Yeah.
without action? Okay, but, okay. So we are going to move to 10. This was a request that was agendized. The title on the agenda sort of was a city clerk coming up with an agenda title to capture sort of the issue, but we did include the council member's email that requested the item, and so I'll leave it to the council member Lyon for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Lyon?
I thank you for putting it on the agenda to both the clerk and the mayor. And I do hope we take action on it. I'm afraid we might have used up our energy on our last discussion, but I would like to take some action here on a few things. So as you know, we frequently show up to our meetings 30 and 45 minutes late because we're in closed session. We don't do a great job of explaining that to the public. We're having important meetings and they're talking about legal issues that really matter and personnel issues. But we're late to our meetings and it's rude to the public and it's frustrating for them. And then on top of that, we're behind on our whole agenda for the meeting, which is often packed. And so we end up against a wall and needing to cancel things 2 hours into the meeting after people have waited before the meeting to start. And so I find that intolerable. So I want to put a few facts on the table and then we go wherever we go with them. We cancel 18 meetings a year. That's how many this year. So some of those are planned cancellations. Some of those are national holidays. So we could cancel fewer, that's 4.5 months of meetings. We could cancel fewer meetings. We could, now that we're moving to Tuesdays, I think one of the things we're going to try out is doing some Tuesdays when there's a national holiday, just doing a closed session so we can get caught up on some of those legal matters. That might help. We could change the start time on our agenda to 6:30 p.m., which I think is more realistic. And then I think we need to confront this issue. It keeps coming up in meetings that we don't start big matters after 10 p.m. That's not a policy that I ever signed on to, and I don't know if it was an informal thing or a cultural thing. We can do it or not, but I think it needs to be a policy that this council adopts if we're going to do it. And to my mind, sometimes the meetings are going to go really late. I don't like it. I find that after 10 p.m., my filter gets turned off and I'm a lot less fun to work with. But we need to get the work done. And so if people have stayed around, I think it's not acceptable at that point, 4 and 5 hours into a meeting to say, okay, we don't feel like doing it anymore. We're going to do it later. So all of those are the things we need to deal with. But I think we have to figure out when we're starting, when we're stopping, and how often we're meeting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One point of clarification on when we start. Are you still wanting to start closed session at 5 p.m. and then the open session at 6:30 p.m. to give yourself an extra half hour?
I think so. I mean, that's, for me, realistically, that's what we actually do. we add more meetings. It's one or the other, but right now, we don't have enough time to do all our business in the time that we've allotted to do it. And part of that is a function of each council. It changes with the council. This is a council that likes to talk, and that's, we tried last year to, in our council retreat, to impose limits on ourselves, and those haven't been very effective. So we can try that again, but I think, in lieu of policing ourselves, we might think about adding more time to do the work.
And I think I don't disagree with what you've said. The move to Tuesdays will allow us, for example, next week, to have, Tuesday meetings on instead of canceling the national holiday. And so that should take care of some of those
And
concerns.
the national holidays, I think, are 4 or 5 of the cancellations. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of additional meetings.
Right.
If we had the option of those
Right.
opening back up.
Absolutely. Okay. In terms of, there is no policy that we not take a matter up after 10 p.m. What we have tried to do is, recognizing that, heavy items require our energy and attention, and the public's, frankly. We've had it as a goal, and I think recently we've been better at it. We've been able to put matters off, but I share the same concern that you share. If we had a hard and fast policy, then, we may need to get work done that can't get done without addressing the policy, and so I'd be concerned about not getting that work done. Mr. Madison?
Yeah, I mean, we did. Oh, I apologize.
I'm
Vice
sorry,
Mayor.
Ms. Rivas?
That's all right. Very briefly, I support holding more meetings, more closed session meetings. So I think, again, we really need to commit on those holidays to actually meeting on the Tuesday and not just being like, oh, it's a holiday, we're all gone still.
Absolutely.
We all need to be here and hold those meetings.
Yeah.
And then I think like today, we kind of imposed on ourselves a 6:15 hard stop because we knew the public was here, we knew the subject matter today, and we were all watching the clock knowing, we shouldn't be letting the public sit out. I think maybe we should memorialize that. If it's 6:15, we really need to wrap up the discussion and figure out if we need to agendize a special closed session or come back after the meeting.
Afterwards.
We really shouldn't be letting people sit out here for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour or longer. So I hope that's something we can be more cognizant of moving forward.
Absolutely. Mr. Madison?
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, I think there is, and I thought we cleared this up at one of the prior meetings, we have had a long-standing practice of not starting a significant agenda item after 10 p.m. And we can revisit that. Obviously, new members didn't sign on to that. Probably most of the members at this point didn't sign on to that. But it makes sense because, at the end of a 16 or 18-hour day, one's attention and focus is going to be challenged. It's just a fact. But what it's really about is managing the meetings in such a way, collectively, it's on all of us, to manage the meeting in such a way that we don't put ourselves in that position. Being cognizant of the fact that, hey, we've got a big issue and we've got a lot of smaller issues. Let's make sure we get to that big issue, one way or the other. And this will be part of the, I hope, recommendations that we'll be bringing forward. In terms of the time limit, we did not impose limits. I proposed that. The majority didn't want to do that. We just said, let's have a clock so we can sort of see how we're doing in that regard. Maybe we should revisit that in pretty much every other chamber, at other levels of government, they have those limits. I don't know about the county, but county's sort of sui generis. Sacramento Congress, 5 minutes. You get 5 minutes in the United States Senate or 5 minutes in the United States Congress as they're talking about $1 trillion budgets. And if you do the work ahead of time and you're prepared, it works, And for good cause, you get another 5 minutes. I appreciate the discussion, and there's room for improvement for all of us.
Mr. Lyon?
I will say all of that's true, and Congress doesn't have a Brown Act, so all of the work in Congress happens outside, and they whip votes, and it's a completely different process. So I would not be for imposing a sort of arbitrary limit on ourselves, although the policy that we came up with last year was that people would say at the beginning of their talking,
Yeah.
I need 3 minutes. And I took, I have not been a person who's done that. I think only Councilmember Jones regularly says at the beginning of his comments how long he needs. I know, and the mayor gave you 27 seconds, which I thought was great. I do, lately the city manager has been giving us suggested time limits for each item. If we could announce those at the beginning of each item, that might help keep us in line.
Yeah.
But I would like to come out of this meeting with a plan for how we're going to show up to our meetings on time and do our work, whether that's adding more meetings on Tuesdays as formally, because we have a calendar now that has a lot of cancellations still on it, or moving our start time, or both. And I don't disagree that the quality of the work goes down the later the night gets.
Yeah.
But I think we got to get the work done one way or another.
Absolutely.
I can commit to working with the city clerk, and we can certainly work on a calendar for the remainder of this year and into the next calendar year to look at dates and holidays and whatnot to see what that would look like. We can absolutely start working on that. I think we have a lot of work. We got to work with committee chairs to figure out what days they're going to do. We can certainly explore council meeting start times of 6:30 if that's the direction the council wants to go in terms of the open portion of the meeting. I will continue to offer up the collective recommendation. I usually bounce it off the city attorney and the city clerk about minutes. I got scolded for picking this item as 90 minutes and we're 12 minutes short of that, so wasn't terrible. But then consent calendar, we were 3 times longer than what I thought it might be tonight, so totally got that one wrong. But I do agree that I think it's beneficial to at least help provide some guidelines for that thing. And from a staff perspective, we really do look out forward multiple months trying to schedule council meetings and even committee meetings forward because our goal is to provide a manageable agenda for all of you in the community so that we can hopefully get out of here with a 3-hour or so meeting and we're not here till midnight. But we do understand that every once in a while there will be one of those items where we get 100 public comments and the item takes 5 hours, and that sometimes will happen.
Yeah.
And it's timely to add on to the city manager. It's timely now because we'll start to look at the calendar for 2027 now, and we'll definitely look at for the end of this year. I think, we do have an election on a Tuesday. We wouldn't have a meeting on a Tuesday on that day, and sometimes we have holidays that land on certain days. So we try and be sensitive to community activities and holidays that might impact people's participation, and so that does happen. The prior iteration of council and sort of has been going forward is trying to schedule 3 council meetings per month to get to 36, plus we have special meetings with the supervisor, and we have special meetings with PUSD, and then there's special meetings that the council will have for other reasons. So we'll go week to week, to maintain that schedule a little bit more rigorously and keep most of those meetings in place, especially with the Tuesdays. And that'll be what I work with the city manager with.
Great. Okay. Mr. Cole.
I'm just going to try a motion that if between now and the end of the year, we convene more than 3 times after 6:20 p.m., that we would automatically introduce an ordinance to move our opening time to 6:30.
I'll second that. I'll play that game. It's not ideal, but I find that we sort of need to build ourselves backstops. I mean, the other thing we could do is agree that we're stopping at 6 p.m. in the middle of our closed session and come back.
Yeah.
But for the public, that has a cost because the staff is going to hang around. You're into some overtime issues depending on which staff they are, and so and it's just hard on staff. That means people are hanging out until midnight to come back and have a closed session. So that's not ideal.
And if I could just comment.
Yeah.
The council used to do that a lot, and then inevitably we get to 9:45 and they'd go, we're not going back to closed session, and then we'd send council home at 9:45, which goes back to the whole, like, not really taking up new items after 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So,
That didn't work either.
yeah, that didn't work very well.
All right,
And,
well, maybe we do build our.
I do just have one suggestion on that, and I appreciate Councilmember Lyon bringing this up for us, this discussion. In closed session, when it comes to us, why not just have the pressing items at the top? So that when we hit 6 o'clock, and we come back out here, you could tell staff they could go home because we'll just table it until our next meeting. I mean,
We really try to plan that out, but it just doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I say let's try. I mean, I understand the spirit of the motion, and believe me, I'm very tempted to say I will support it, but let's, I don't want to put artificial restrictions on ourselves as a body. Let's make every attempt. Then if we don't, by the end of the year, I will second the motion myself or make it.
And I'm not trying to be unhelpful here. I just, I think elections happen on a day. They don't get postponed. Soccer seems to have a flexible time when the game ends, but basketball and football, they actually, at the end of an hour, it's
We're
done.
playing baseball here.
Sometimes,
It
there's
can
some
go on
sudden
forever.
death, but the spirit of what I'm asking is,
Yeah.
let's really discipline ourselves and have consequences if we fail to do this. And the consequences is simply that we move to a 6:30 time, because that turns out to be more realistic. So, look, I will suspend the motion at your request, Mayor. But let's really be serious about this.
Yeah.
And if we can't, let's not have another discussion about, well, maybe we'll try something else. Let's move the meetings so we have enough time to do our closed session work and our open session work in ways that is respectful to the participants in closed session and respectful to the public in open session.
And I was just going to mention that our start time is 5 PM.
No.
No, our start time is 5 PM. In the code, the 6 or 6:30, we can move that because it's after the start time of the meeting. The closed session starts at 5 PM, and 6 PM is when the open session, but we would announce it to 6:30. We wouldn't actually need to do an ordinance, so.
So I'll be keeping track, and if we,
Me too, believe
if we
me.
go 3 times past 6:20, I'll be making this motion in December.
Some of us are sometimes twiddling our fingers back there waiting for a quorum to organize for closed session. So let's keep that in mind too. It's not just here in the council chambers, it's also being in that closed session room at 5 o'clock so we can get started. So please be mindful of that. Okay. Mr. Madison?
Thank you, Mayor. I just, I wanted to point out, like, this year, we have met 23 times. Usually, most years, and I've been sitting here a long time, as you know, most years we meet around 40 times as a city council. And I think that comports with the community's expectations, between holidays and holiday seasons, and a time pretty much every summer where we step
36,
away.
37.
So by my count, and I could be wrong, others can check it, but we've met 23 times. We've had 5 special meetings in addition to those 23 that were kind of the regular Monday night. Looks like a lot of those were closed session, special meetings around personnel issues or what have you. And then I think by my calendar presently, we're scheduled to meet another 10 times at the rest of the year. So we're going to come in around 38 or so meetings. It's not that, out of order with what we do year over year. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. But one of the things that I think we've all noticed is, particularly in the last few years, issues have gotten so complicated. And we've had a lot of issues that we've had to grapple with that are complex and complicated. And certainly, the public comment has increased. Not being critical, just it's a fact. Sometimes we get the same people commenting on every issue. And, that's, again, not being critical, that's just a fact. And so, all of those things have made for longer meetings at times. But I am going to ask that we be mindful. I've suggested everything from shot clocks to a bigger bell that's in my office for the city clerk to be used for members of the council, myself included on occasion. And so, we just have to work together and be mindful of all of these things.
We have 2 public comments.
Okay. 2 public comments?
Humira and Yadi.
Oh, okay. Come on forward.
Well, I'm mostly just going to say thank you for finally having this discussion. It sounds like there's a lot more commitment than what I've heard. I've kind of been ridiculed or patronized when I brought this to Legislative Policy Committee a couple of times. Did not go well. It was not well received. So I'm glad to see that, the committee as a whole seems very committed to addressing this issue. So please just stand by it. And I support Council Members Cole's thing. I would say 6:15, but the reality is that every other city meets on time. That's all we're asking for. And I'm glad to see the commitment, and I will be watching. And maybe the jokes that people tell about how council always starts late will end because you guys will starting on time. Thank you.
Thank you. Yadi? She waves her time, literally and figuratively.
With that completes public comment.
Okay.
So is that by consensus we'll receive and file the
Okay. By
item?
consensus, the item is received and filed. And we
I
have one more
have
item.
a quick item.
Hold on, that received and filed, but will come back to us in December. How does it?
Yeah, we'll monitor and.
Okay.
So the next item is item 11.
Yeah.
And so this is a quick item. The Brown Act was recently amended, and it requires that the council adopt a resolution regarding remote access disruption and have a policy on how to address remote access disruptions. So the amendments to the Brown Act require city council meetings to provide public with opportunity to participate in person and remotely. And since COVID, we have been doing that. We have hybrid meetings, not just for council, but for council committees. And this new change to the Brown Act requires city council to adopt procedures for instances when disruption to remote participation occurs. And the summary of it is the mayor would, if let's say the Zoom meeting went down or internet access stopped and we weren't allowing for remote interaction, the mayor we would be advised of that happening. The mayor would have to stop the meeting, and then staff would have to address the issue. The law now requires that we spend at least an hour, city staff making good faith efforts to restore the remote access. During that hour time, the council could, if you weren't finished with your closed session, go back into closed session. You could go back, reconvene, and discuss closed session. So tonight, I know there was an item that you couldn't discuss, didn't get to. You could go back. And then staff would have to fix the disruption. If it's before an hour and we fix it, no problem, we come back and we restart the meeting. If we cannot fix it, then after an hour has passed, the council would come back to the meeting, we would reconvene, the mayor would announce that the issue cannot be fixed. Staff would verbally report all the efforts, and we would be taking notes, and we would distribute a description of the efforts made to address the issue. And then the council could, be asked to make a motion, and it would be first to find that the good faith efforts were made by city staff based on our report out, and then a determination either that the public interest to continue the in-person meeting outweighs the public interest to provide remote public access to the meeting, or a determination to not continue the meeting and adjourn the proceedings to a future date. And you would just need 5 affirmative votes for one of those determinations. And that is the policy. It's provided for you, and we had to do this in a public, in a non-consent item. It had to be a discussion item, so it's not.
Let's say it. Yeah, it's not something that we can change. It's imposed on us.
Right.
Mr. Hampton?
I do just have one option, one observation. Do we have a landline that people could call in on that's not connected to Zoom?
We use the Zoom
But is there another backup plan?
We could do that. I mean, at this point, the Zoom meeting has not dropped. We could have a backup landline, and we could do that. I would work with the staff, and we could come up with a backup in the event that, and then just be able to communicate that to people. But then it's managing it. It's sort of like having a switchboard and call in and say, I want to speak during this public comment, and dealing with that as well, and being able to manage and pick people out of a crowd to come in and join the meeting. We couldn't have 25 people join via landline and be in the meeting with us. Zoom allows people to be in say a room, still watch the meeting, and then when it's their turn, they turn in a speaker card and we call them out like we did with Allison Henry.
Understood.
And so we've mastered that. It would take some time. We could figure something out.
Yeah, I was just wondering if IT had a backup plan if Zoom goes down.
We would definitely try to, especially if this were to occur multiple times, like if this became an ongoing problem. We have yet to have a Zoom issue. We've had issues with YouTube. We've had issues with Granicus. We've had issues with sometimes Pasadena Media Signal. That would not stop our meeting. We would not have to. It's the two-way participation component of it that would have to be disrupted, where we would have to stop the meeting.
Okay, I was just saying that I think there's a potential for other options.
We'll look into it.
Zoom, Teams.
Let's say just quickly, we do have backup options for both internet connectivity, and we could use the webinar version feature of Teams as backup options if we lost the internet or if we lost total Zoom connectivity. So we do have some other options.
But think about it in the meeting, if everybody wasn't aware of that, they couldn't just switch.
I appreciate it, I'm not IT. No, just
They couldn't just switch to it. That's my point. They would have to know to switch to it, and
Well, we could
and we'd have
post
to
that.
notify them.
we would. I mean, but we wouldn't be managing two, so.
Mr. Jones?
Yeah, just a follow-up on that. Does any departments have landlines? Like, does cubicles, they have landlines still? Because I know.
No, all of our work phones are
It's just
based off of
Teams,
voice
right?
over IP now.
There is
We
a
have
red.
a few
we have some
landline
emergency
phones, right.
Yeah.
the red
Landline
phone.
phones, but regular work is done through voice over IP.
It's through, okay.
There are a couple here and
There are
there.
few red line.
Yeah.
red-
Yeah, the
Red-
mayor has a red phone in his office, right?
I do. That goes to Batman, though. No, I do. I have one in, I think, the Emergency Operations Center. With the only call I've received on that was someone trying to order pizza, by the way.
Do we have a motion? I'll move the staff recommendation.
Thank you.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second.
The motion and a second. Are there any objections? Seeing none, matters approved.
Thank you. All right, last item is item 14. And there was there's no public comment on this item, but there was a letter expressing concerns with term limits for commissioners, and that letter We thought that the staff thought initially it wasn't a matter on the agenda, so it might be in your packet, and I think it was relabeled for item 14. So that letter was distributed to the council, posted online as part of the record for this item.
And the matter's been before us a number of times.
Councilmember Hampton and Councilmember Cole are in the queue.
Okay. Mr. Hampton?
So I voted no on this item last time, but I am interested in hearing other opinions from my colleagues this evening. And then I'll vote no. That's funny. That's not what Councilman Jones said that. But I'm happy to hear other suggestions.
Mr. Cole, Mr. Lyon? Mr. Cole first.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Look, there's not a magic solution here that everybody, that solves all problems and makes everybody happy. The one problem I would like to solve is having term limits and then having people serve indefinitely beyond the term limits. I'm not wedded to any particular solution. And if we want to not have term limits, okay. But it bothers me. I mean, the voters imposed 12-year term limits on us. And if we said, well, fine, but I'm going to serve until whenever, I think the voters would say, wait a minute, we just voted on that. So if we have term limits, we should have some mechanism. What's before us tonight was an effort to find common ground. It gave longer terms than current for commissioners, extended from 2 3-year terms to 2 4-year terms. It also said that if you had ended your 2 terms of 6 years, but hadn't yet reached 8 years, that you could continue until you reached 8 years. Which I think addressed some of the concerns about some massive disruption of the commission system overnight. I am open to what achieves the goal of enforcing our current policies. How we enforce them, when we enforce them, I am open to compromise. And I'm open, if we can't get to a compromise, of repealing term limits. And people can serve, they can serve as many terms as want. I am philosophically opposed to having term limits that we don't abide by. That's my problem. So let me make one suggestion and see if Mr. Hampton is comfortable with it, or find if Mr. Hampton has a better idea. And that is, he has expressed in the past a desire to keep the current 6-year term limits. And if we want to go back to that, I'm okay with that for the non-RBOC, which is already 4 years, should stay 4 years. RBOC and the other boards like it. I am also willing to continue this provision in the ordinance that's before us, which gives essentially a grace period of everybody for 2 years, for now, till we solve this problem. I recognize that it is not always easy to fill every slot. But I do think it is important, if we're going to have term limits, that we enforce them, and if we're not going to enforce them, that we not have term limits.
Yeah, and that's, we all make nominations and are responsible for identifying people. And so I think that's also a tool available to us that we should take advantage of. Mr. Lyon, followed by Mr. Masuda, then Ms. Rivas.
Thank you, Mayor. And my comments actually are quite similar, so I'll be brief. We have term limits in our current system. We have a number of terms, but then it provides in most of the statutes, I think it's not the same in all of them, but that if the term expires and no one's appointed, that the commissioner can just stay indefinitely. And so we have people who've served years beyond their term. So the piece of this that I liked, I really am agnostic on the length of the terms. We have 3 years now. We talked about 4, tried to get people together. The piece of this that I liked is that there's a grace period at the end, but after 6 months after the term expires, if the council member hasn't appointed someone, the seat naturally vacates. And I don't think there needs to be a lifetime ban. I'm fine with someone being reappointed after they're out of their seat, just so that we take a moment to look at them again and bring them in. The other piece that I really liked that we were trying to do here is taking away the term limits altogether for the parking place commissions, because they are, that's where the most egregious examples of the over-serving, the 16 years beyond the expiration of the term is on one of those. Those are a particular thing because they're very small constituencies who are eligible to serve on the parking place commissions. And you try to have someone from a business in the area, you can have a resident in the area, but those are hard to fill. And so the pieces that I probably will get around to moving are that we have a grace period at the end, and then the seat vacates on the current term limits, and that we take away the term limits for the parking place commissions. Those two pieces feel really important, and the rest I'm sort of flexible on.
Mr. Masuda, Ms. Rivas, and then Mr. Madison.
Thank you, Mayor. I still think what Jonathan Stewart was saying about how complicated it is and how difficult just making a fast rule doesn't always work. So I'm going to still vote no on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Rivas, followed by Mr. Madison.
Thank you, Mayor. And the concern that's been driving me to make sure we have enforceable term limits, again, we already have term limits, is a matter of fairness and equity for our commissioners. Right now, whether or not you serve beyond your term limit, they're really just up to who your council member happens to be, or if they got around to finding someone to replace you. And I think our commissioners deserve knowing, hey, at the end of my term, I'm going to be replaced, or I'm going to be asked to step down. And it has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with the personality of my council member, or how busy they are, or their interests. It's just that's how it is for everyone. So I think having a rule that applies fairly across the board is the best practice for our commissions. And so, again, how we get there, whether it's through all the millions of ways that we've already talked about, I am open to discussing that. But but having a rule that's fairly applied, I think, should be the goal. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Rivas. Mr. Madison.
Thanks, Mayor. Again, I'm going to adhere to my prior position, was to oppose the motion. I think by my current count, we have something like 25 vacant commission seats. So we can't fill the commission openings that we have. We've got something like 45 or 50 current commissioners who are not eligible for reappointment under the current policy. And so if they weren't allowed to continue on, we're in a heap of trouble. We're going to have a hard time finding people. And I think this also, similar to some of the other issues we talked about tonight, like what's wrong with each council member for his or her district deciding whether the person is the right person to continue to serve or not. I don't see it as a matter of equity between the commissioners. They're giving us a gift. They're making a huge commitment and sacrifice to do this work, and apparently we're having a hard time stimulating enough interest in people to do it, and it's understandable. Everybody's so busy with their families and their lives, but the last thing we should be doing is trying to discourage people and kick out good people who are serving, even if they're over a policy. I'm fine rescinding the policy and leaving it up to each district to do, but this solution is not going to solve any problem that I see. Respectfully, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Lyon.
I think we could address that last problem with the if there are this many vacancies, I have a waiting list for commissioners for every commission in my district. My district is very engaged and interested in being involved. And I think, if a seat vacates and a council member isn't able to fill the seat or to do the outreach necessary to fill the seat, then we can open it up. It becomes an at-large seat. I think that's a great solution to the vacancy problem. I think we can fill these seats, but we're not adhering to our own policy of having terms end. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Jones?
Thanks. I mean, I plan to support the motion. I think I did last time, but just to rebut what Councilmember Lyons said is I agree with Councilmember Madison, is that a lot of folks are busy, they have lives, and we've tried to get them to submit applications and serve on commissions. And it is difficult at least for the district that I represent, for residents there, to serve on some of the commissions. And then two is it's at our discretion if we want to appoint members from other districts. And I clearly would support if the council member wants to do that. But then if it does become like this at-large seat, because you can't find residents, or maybe you need more time to find residents, then it would essentially just be a commission that's made up of 2-3 districts. And maybe that's already happening right now, but that would be my concern there, is if you took a District 3 seat, you can't find a resident there, or I can't find a resident, and then it became an at-large, and then it became a District 7 seat, yeah.
I don't think there's a restriction on who individual council members can appoint. I may be wrong. I mean, the nominates, I'm sorry. The council members can appoint someone from, if you're in District 3, you can appoint for, someone from District 1 or 5. I mean, so.
Which I'm okay with.
So at large would simply mean that then the nomination comes through the mayor's office. So you guys are pushing it on to me now.
Well, what I heard was that, for example, if District 3 had a vacancy and I couldn't find a resident to appoint, then it becomes an at-large, and then Councilmember Lyon could recommend someone to the mayor.
That was a proposed solution to the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
There being
You
too
mean-
many vacancies.
Yeah.
There's a solution for that as well. I wasn't moving it
You mean
necessarily.
formally? Okay, I misunderstood. Yeah, no, I look, I think we need to focus on, and a number of you make suggestions for me to make nominations, and I do. There was one on our agenda tonight from Mr. Cole, Mr. Lyon. People have made suggestions. I think we just got to work with each other for individual district nominations. So maybe one of you for a district nomination is having a problem, and let me know. Let one of our colleagues know, or just I can put in the green sheets that District X is looking for a nomination. And for the public, the green sheets are the weekly memo that I prepare for the entire council. And I'm happy to put it in there, and so if you can't find someone for, I don't know, name it, planning or whatever commission, maybe someone else knows someone. Okay, with that, Mr. Hampton?
Before we go, and I understand that there is my colleagues have brought up some really valid points, and they brought them up in the past, and I appreciate the conversation. I'm really right in the middle on the fence on it. So I like the way the structure works now. I haven't had any issues with the structure and the way it works. But I understand the term piece, and so maybe you serve your terms and then you have a 6-month grace period until, as mentioned, until that council member reappoints someone. But if that council member does not reappoint someone, then that person who is in the place will stay on for a year or be able to continue another term. and just go annually, and it would come on the agenda, and we would vote for that individual to stay in place for a year while that councilman was still looking for another person.
Or maybe the council member, I understood one of the concepts that I think is, if I understood it correctly, that we would just bring them back and appoint them. In other words, it wouldn't just be a holdover. In fairness to the commissioner, I think we could bring them back and say, look, I'd like to nominate the same person and ask the council to take formal action and not just kind of leave it out there hanging in the wind.
That's the point I'm trying to make. So, I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. It was.
But it wouldn't be limited, in my view. It would be another
okay.
full term.
Another full term. Okay, I was just saying we would reappoint them annually. That way we're holding everyone accountable here, or at least the council member who wants to appoint that person.
I'm about to make a motion. You
Well-
want to talk first?
Thank you, Mr. Lyon.
Go ahead.
I like Mr. Lyons, I'm sorry, Mr. Hampton's suggestion here. I like Mr. Hampton's suggestion because I think it's a middle ground between not having term limits and and having some allowance for the concerns of the minority that have been expressed several times. And so I would support a provision in this ordinance that says, you know, notwithstanding all of these other things, if that a commissioner, that on approval by the council and nomination by the mayor or the council member who seats, someone can serve for an additional year, and that is that could happen more than once. I think that keeps us from just saying, well, everybody can have as many terms as they want, but it puts some pressure on us to actually fill them. And I, you know, there may be some cases where there's a compelling reason to go more than 6 months, but I think but a whole other term means basically now we're going to 12 years for these terms. And I think that's, I've already flexed from going from 6 to 8, to go to 12, I think but to go from 8 to 9 to 10.
A term is 3 years though, so.
Well, not according to the ordinance, but if we could revert to 3 years, according to it, it's 4
You
years.
could have
Well,
two
the current-
consecutive 3-year terms.
Yeah.
Right? So it's only a 3-year term. So that means any of our commissioners, when their 3 years is up right now, we could tell them, thank you, sir, for serving your term.
Correct.
I'm appointing someone else.
But we have a term limit of 2 3-year terms. So you're not supposed to serve more than 6 years. This ordinance extends that to 8 years.
As drafted. Yeah.
As drafted. What is your perspective? Would you go with 2 3-year terms and then by vote of the council, you can have an additional year or as many additional years as the council is willing to give you?
I mean, I would go annually personally, but I mean, that's.
If we go that way, then we don't need a grace period, right? It's just
Yeah, you
the
wouldn't-
seat
yeah, you're
vacates
right, you wouldn't
and
need a
they
grace.
have to be renominated annually. I couldn't work with that. Can you work with that?
It's,
But, I mean, no
I
one-
think it's,
I mean,
It's taken
again, the
we,
piece is trying to figure out how to
look,
give meaning to what we already have, and and then
yeah.
whatever we do, I do want to do the thing of taking them away for the parking place commission.
no, and the suggestion I thought you were making is just bring it back. I mean, have the member of the council say, look, you know, I want to reappoint this person and this is why, and we have a discussion.
And I'm actually okay with that. And it could be, in that scenario, it could be an indefinite series of 2-term cycles for life. But we just, at least we're looking at it at the end of the term. The term ends, and then we look at it and we bring them back in. I'm actually fine with that as well.
That's the case now, unless we're saying that the person's term actually is on the day that they are not eligible, they are gone unless the council has
That is what we're saying.
appointed.
That is,
That's the difference.
they're not
The seat
eligible,
vacates.
and so that causes the holdover, for the lack of a better term.
All right. That meets, look, it's not my preference, but that meets my objective, which is we actually have, we actually don't just let people stay on with indefinitely because we haven't gotten around to it. So it basically abolishes term limits. But it says you've got to come you've got to come back and get
Yeah.
approval. That's why I would rather have a single year extension. That would be my preference, but I'm willing to go with, you can have as many terms as you want, you just have to have the council vote on it.
Well, yeah, we can say, up to, well, let's just not tinker.
See, that's right.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say some commissioners may not want another full term and say, look, I'll do another year while you find someone, but that can be between the council member and the individual. Ms. Rivas?
Thank you, Mayor. I still support term limits for all the reasons previously discussed, so I don't repeat them. So I wouldn't come on board with the current proposal. I don't think putting them back on the agenda, no one's going to vote against another person's appointee. It's just going to become a rubber stamp. Unless I make it my policy just to vote against everyone who's being reappointed, which I don't know that I want to do. I think in some cases a case could be made, but I do think just a flat line rule that applies equally to everyone is the best approach and is the simplest approach. So I'll throw out another suggestion. What about just a 1 year grace period?
This is the second reading, everyone.
I know.
so.
Well, I think we're probably back to drafting again.
I mean, every conversation goes this way.
Yeah.
So however it ends up, it is how it ends up. So that's all I have to say.
Let's change the charter so it only takes 4 votes to pass an ordinance.
And then
Two.
problem solved.
Two. Let's go to 2.
I will go with any of these. What I want is some certainty at the end, where when the term ends, it ends. And if it could come back, I'm okay with that. I don't know where my colleagues are.
I'm okay with the, bringing it back. I think that's fine. But, I think.
What if there was some expectation that you bring someone back, not because you want them to serve a 3rd term, but because you say, I asked to make an exception because I've had difficulty finding a qualified person. I think that's a reason to give someone an additional time. That's been the argument we've heard over and over again, is the difficulty of filling those terms.
So there would be a for cause provision after 2.
Why don't let's vote.
Be careful
We're not
with
gonna, it's
for
clear we're not
cause.
going to agree here. Let's do this. Let's vote on what's in front of us.
We've got a compromise. We should not turn our back on it.
No, or we can table it and have discussion at Ledge Policy. next May.
I am in the queue, Mayor, whenever, and I think the Vice Mayor's ahead of me, but you're done.
Ledge Policy, yeah. Well,
I'm just trying to get to 10 o'clock and then claim that we can't take it.
We've already exceeded the 10-minute time limit.
Yeah.
established with this item.
Look, let's.
Yeah, I could do this all night.
And it's a disservice to all the members of the community that are here. But, my thing is kind of you do you, and I'm troubled by the idea that all these processes that we're trying to, and it's in good faith, but it's, because I'm a rule follower. If we have term limits, we should, and it's uncomfortable when it happens. But the reality is, we're going to have, 100, 150 vacancies if we adopt this, and now we're going to have commissions not having quorums? No, we are.
12.
The 2, I don't know who made the motion or who seconded it, but there are vacancies all over the dais here, and there are numerous non-eligibles. And so, now look, in my district, we're at the higher end of Maslow's hierarchy. I've got a lot of people willing to serve. I've got one where I've got like 6 applications. But what I'm hearing is, well, you can't find somebody, then I'm going to get to put somebody in your place. That is wrong. It's not our place to do that, And And, I mentioned this, I've got a senior commission. I'm not going to age her out of the senior commission. I'm sorry. I think there's an element of ageism here too. Out with the old and in with the new. Well, yeah, if we didn't have any vacancies and we had a long line of people saying, I've got something new and different, but we don't, so I would support anything that allows you to do you, you get who you want, and you're accountable to your residents. They're the ones that'll take it up with you if they think you're dropping the ball here. I don't believe that the council has some, inchoate right to dictate who is Mr. Jones's commissioner or Mr. Masuda's commissioner or my commissioner. My residents will tell me if I'm screwing up, believe me. And,
Mr. Madison, those aren't your commissioners. They're the council approves them. You nominate them.
They
The
have a
council
district,
approves them.
they have got a district number next to them, and I certainly have a conversation with them that they're there to represent the whole city, just like we are, but they are also responsive and responsible to the district. They need to show representation of the district. If we want to change that, if you want to make them all at large, and then those of us that have, advantages, we can take over the whole thing. That would be a step backwards in history, not forward.
Mr. Cole, please be easy on my future senior commissioner.
I'm grateful you said senior. I mean, a future,
Go ahead. I'm going to try to move something.
But we have a public comment.
Let's do that.
Check the Zoom, no? He said he submitted a speaker card. He's not in Zoom?
No. Okay. He's not there? Is he there or not there? Okay. Okay. Apparently okay. Mr.
Homing pigeon.
Okay, I'm going to try
Lyon.
this one, but I will try until we get there. I'm going to move that we, that when a term expires pursuant to the current terms of our statutes, a council member may renominate their commissioner on an annual basis. And those have to come back annually, and that we do away with term limits for the parking place commissions.
I will second that with the friendly amendment that we also do away with for the District Historic Preservation Commissioners. That also is a very small geographic group. Bungalow Heaven, has a commissioner who sits on Bungalow Heaven matters. Only Bungalow Heaven people can be a member there, and I think it's more difficult to find that and some of them are much smaller than that. We just approved a historic district with 6 houses. So I think it would be difficult to find someone from 6 houses.
I'll accept that.
1 second, let us consult.
I still, it's going to no term limits, which I don't support, so.
Yeah,
right.
but it's a compromise, and so it really is, this is the art of compromise, but it does bring intention to the process, so they have to bring it back. And maybe we do start to get together and say, and it at least forces the council member to be mindful. But our statutes certainly are not built for you do you. So we're trying to come up with a system that creates uniformity and legality.
I'd almost prefer that we just say there's no term limits, because that is in practice what we do. I feel like this is a rubber stamp that won't ever actually meaningfully be discussed or debated or challenged.
That's up to us, though, right? I mean, we could decline to renew on that annual basis, and maybe they get weary of it. But let's vote on this. I'm going to keep making motions till we get to 5, because we're not following our current statutes, so we got to come up with something. That's the motion for now. Can we take a vote?
Well, the motion for now is a second reading, if I recall correctly.
No, I just made a motion.
He's
Okay.
making a motion to amend
Okay.
the ordinance
And you have
and
your
bring it
public
back, and we do
speaker.
have the public comment speaker. Brendan, can I bring him in?
I mean, if I can get 5 votes on a second reading, we're good. You in?
No.
Okay,
Well,
then
but
that's.
this wouldn't be the second reading of that. This would be the first.
This would be, this
would
is actually,
Oh, it'd be a
Yeah,
direction.
yeah.
So, Mayor, can I ask a couple of questions, just so I understand, on the part about the historic preservation, what would happen to that commission, and how would those seats be?
It's not the commission, it's the district representatives. Banbury Oaks, Bungalow Heaven,
Got it.
Crawford
So are
Vista.
you saying it would go to 4 members then?
No, the landmark districts, when a matter comes up affecting a landmark district, it has a representative who comes only for that purpose to the Historic Preservation Commission to vote on that matter. And so, they might not show up at all for the entire time of their term of
They
their.
would be exempted.
Right. Would you
And if-
consider a friendly amendment to the maker and the second, then adding the other districts, so that, again, we'd have equal and diverse representation from throughout the city on that commission?
What?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Well, like if you look at most of the commissions, District 1, 2, 3, is that the case for that commission currently?
I'm sorry, I'm
All the
not
districts are represented on that commission?
on the district.
On historic
Yes.
preservation.
Yeah, I may be looking at skewed data because I'm just looking at the ones that are coming
No,
up.
all districts have a representative.
Got it.
And then there are additional, essentially ad hoc, or I'm sorry, ex officio members who are voting members only when their
Got it.
particular district.
Okay.
For each of the landmark
Yep,
districts.
yep.
And it's true that we do have a landmark district now that's 7 houses, so.
And
So
it
for-
looks like the majority of those are not eligible anyway, and they're serving past their time.
If I could ask a
Okay.
clarifying question on that. So if there's an issue that comes up in Garfield Heights, right now, the member that's appointed through Garfield Heights has to be in attendance to vote for that item? I mean, what are you trying
They
to
get to.
solve here?
Well, I think that the
What I'm trying
point
to
is.
solve
Yeah.
is that right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the non-eligible people represent a very tiny, in the same spirit as Old Pasadena parking and South Lake parking. It's not 140,000 people that can serve on that. Only a person from that district can serve. And so to have term limits for those people under the same spirit as removing term limits from the parking.
Because it's a tiny population
It's a-
in the
it's
landmark
a
district
it's
who could be in that seat.
geographically.
It doesn't affect their voting at all. It just
Yeah.
says that we will not yank you off.
Oh, I see. I misinterpreted. I thought you were trying to open it up to.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so,
Could we do the public comment?
public comment?
Renee Gonzalez? You have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, good night, everyone. Thank you for your service. I am calling as a former commissioner of the Human Relations Commission for over 5 years. And on my departure, I was asked by the chair to ask my council member for District 3 to try to fill that position, hopefully with the Hispanic or Latino representative, given the current circumstances in the federal political atmosphere and even local with the ICE raids and all that stuff. So this has been over a year and I don't see proper community outreach that match the community needs. And so I'm asking again, live record, my council member, Justin Jones, to try to fill this position as soon as possible so that the people of District 3 have somebody to go to when it comes to issues that are affecting the human relations in our district. One other recommendation that I want to submit to this council is to really evaluate the way that recommendations from former commissions have been handled by this council. We are displaying, seems to be proudly displaying the names of people that were discriminating against our community in the past in regards of the hand-in-hand issue that is well known, and the names, as far as I know, are still on the wall. The other thing is the Roosevelt Elementary School, which was nominated by the commission, the Historic Preservation Commission, for a landmark nomination, was practically bypassed. There was some process that was really not fair for the children of Roosevelt. And so when you think back and look at the way that these regular citizens have
Your time has expired. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay. We have a motion and a second. Okay.
Okay, so notwithstanding the ordinance, a commissioner with council approval nominated by the council member can serve another year, and they could serve annually. And that.
After the expiration of their terms, they have to
Right.
be renominated on an annual basis.
Right.
Okay.
And then
And they're no term limit.
remove parking place commission from term limits, and also neighborhood nominated commissioners on historic preservation commission.
Okay.
Is that in perpetuity? Like, we can keep renominating the same person every year?
You could, that's what that's what
Where
it
we are
said.
now.
How about if we
So then
said to
why
no
the-
more than 3 years?
Oh, my lord.
So if, well, I was just going to
Oh,
comment.
I got a whole series of them.
Is that we do have council member term limits now. So in theory, if a council member hits their term limit, then when the new person takes office, it's really up to that person to start all over again.
Yeah, well, I'll
If
say
they
in
want.
practice, it doesn't really work like
No,
that. If you run a contested race, they usually clean house, but if you are taking over from a friendly predecessor, it's bad form to come in and clear house.
Well, it's bad form only if it's that.
We may get to a place, let's just vote on the motion.
Okay, and then.
It's in perpetuity.
I'm
and
gonna, but I'm not gonna let this meeting go in perpetuity, so we have till 10 o'clock.
Well,
And then-
I mean, I'm going to keep moving until someone might move to end the meeting, but we
Yeah.
at some point.
I mean, we can bring it back,
We have to give meaning to our own ordinances, and we're not.
and it's
So
on
let's
us as
vote.
individuals.
Motion
Okay.
second. Roll call. On the motion, Councilmember Cole?
Yes.
Councilmember Hampton?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Lyon?
Yes.
Councilmember Madison?
Yes.
Councilmember Masuda? Vice Mayor Rivas?
No.
Mayor Gordo?
Yes.
The motion passes, 7 in favor, 1 against. So an ordinance will come back for first reading.
Yes, within.
And then we'll do
Now we
something
gotta
else
just
with that.
Two more
First reading.
opportunities to mess it up.
We have a fourth reading? Okay, I'll see some of you.
Can we,
No,
3-year terms? Or are we going to stuck with 4-year
we're
terms?
gonna stop there. And I'll see some of you
Well,
at
actually,
5 a.m.
just for
tomorrow.
clarity, the motion was to not what's in the ordinance, what's in our, in
Okay,
the
so it's
proposed
3
ordinance,
years.
what's in our current ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So 3-year terms.
Yeah.
I do have, very quick, part of that motion was training. So the training should happen no matter what happens.
Yes, yes.
Just want to make, okay.
Let's start.
Training for,
Yes,
Didn't say anything.
that's gonna happen
for the
anyway.
commissioner. The commissioner training is part of that motion, was a part of the original.
Okay,
It was part of the draft ordinance, but
Is
it
it
was not part of
the
that.
draft? I know, I'm just saying, no matter what happens, I want to make sure the training is.
yeah, that's a separate
Should be
issue, yeah.
separated.
Yeah. Training's occurring. Okay.
The last thing, I'd just like to make mention that the.
You got till 10:30,
Mustang-
we'll-
The turkey tussle will be held at the Rose Bowl.
Oh, yes,
That's it.
Actually, I'd like to make a motion.
yeah. No, it will be, and it'll be fun. Okay, with that, thank you, everyone, and we are now adjourned.
Yeah, change the rule.